What's up, brother?
What's going on, Dan? How's your week so far?
Not too bad. Finally got back out riding.
Oh, did you?
'Cause
Oh,
yeah, I didn't go out exercising for a week or so because it was like 100 and whatever and
oh
fires
yeah.
everywhere.
You don't want to pass out, man. Oh my God, I can't believe how hot it was. I forgot what day. I think it might have been Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, it was in the hundreds.
Yeah, I was driving to go pick up my son in the car, and I had all the windows down. And man, it just felt like there was a fire outside of the car. Like it was just like the hottest heat just blowing into. I was like, "What the heck is
Yeah,
this?" You would think just the air blowing would kind of cool it off, but it was just like burning hot. And I was like, "Dang!" Like I never felt heat
it's
like that.
funny too. Is like, and people use that and they'll go, "See, global warming."
Yeah, no.
So it's funny because if you look up the hottest temperatures in Southern California ever, I looked it up and I think it was 1918 that had the hottest temperature ever. It was early 1900s. So, um, huh, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so yeah. So anyway, people use that, but just do your research and look at the temperatures throughout history, and you'll see just as hot temperatures in the past before all this global warming stuff started or talk
Yeah.
started, and here and so it's just a fear tactic to get people to.
Oh yeah, they're definitely using it as an excuse to pass all those draconian laws all over the world. Like they're just scaring politicians and countries all over the world. Oh, you know what I mean? Like if the world's in danger, you have to pass these
Right. We
laws,
all
and here's the whole set. Do this right here, and
Right. We all need to work together as a global community. And there,
it,
you know what? Eventually,
yeah,
it's like, you know what? We're already doing it. We might as well just have a global government.
yeah. While we're at
I
it,
mean, it's exactly what they're doing. It's just that simple.
yeah,
And CNN even admits it that the owner of CNN, forget that guy's name. Anyway, though they caught that CNN producer on hidden camera talking about the Trump and Biden election and how he's like so proud he thinks literally they're the ones responsible for Biden getting elected because they ran negative stories against Trump and overplayed them, and that's what he says. And then any negative story against Biden, they underplayed it or didn't play it at all, and they're solely responsible for getting Biden elected. And then the guy says, "Well, what are you guys going to do next?" He goes, "Well, next we're going to push climate change and we're going to use fear to do it."
yeah,
I mean, they literally admit that, but
yeah.
you know,
Well, did you get a chance to listen to that podcast
they're
about the Roman Empire? Did you hear it?
I, I didn't listen to it yet.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah. That guy. Yeah, I've been listening to Mel K. That lady we listened to last week. Yeah, man, she's got some good topics, man. She's got some good guests, and they're talking about basically the nitty gritty of what's going on, like better than almost anybody. They're getting right straight to it. Like she just keeps calling out, like, you know what I mean, like all these things that are happening because of the council. With the council. Oh, they bring up Council of Foreign Relations. I haven't heard that name in a long time, but she kind of put it in perspective. All quick, just about the media. I got a bunch of videos that I downloaded years ago about the Council of Foreign Relations, but it kind of explains the question I've been asking you for so long. Like, how could the media be so like ruthless against Trump? You know what I mean? How could they be like so evil? But I forgot that the Council of Foreign Relations, kind of the point of that whole organization was to tie government and media. Do you know much about the Council on Foreign Relations?
no, I don't really. But the media, like I'd say, the media, yeah, okay. There's going to be a lot of government entities pushing the media, and they are. The media is just government mouthpieces at this point, but the government is also being controlled by their bosses, which is the like that woman on the last podcast said, the global billionaire oligarchy are the parent company, whatever you want to call it. You can say it however you want, but it's Fink and Schwab and Soros and some others that we aren't going to ever know everybody's name probably, but those are the people who are really in charge, and they tell the government what to do, and the government tells the media what to do,
Yeah.
and you have a full on dictatorship in the United States.
Well, I'm assuming at like when they have meetings, like now it's people think, oh, like this big, deep, dark secret, people in a smoky room, 20 feet underneath the ground, like meetings and stuff like that. It's the Council on Foreign Relations that they just meet publicly, and that's part where they all collude on what the narrative is gonna be. You know what I mean? Just kind of casually, like, oh, this is our group, like our little clubhouse, we're gonna meet, and this is how we're gonna approach topics, and this is going to be our narrative, and these are the people we're going to attack, and this is the goal. And so, but it's a Council
Well,
on Foreign Relations. It's an official organization that it's not, all, it doesn't sound too nefarious. It sounds like, oh man, like there's just a bunch of intelligent people trying to solve the world's problems. But so yeah, so
well, the
now
council.
it kind of made me just think that's how they do it. They're just going along with their friends. That's how they could be so ruthless towards Trump. But
Well, the Council of Foreign Relations, that's the United States Council, correct?
yeah, it's here. It was created
Right.
by
These are
Rockefeller, the Nelson Rockefeller, the last one that died, the old ass guy, or
right.
John
So
D. Rockefeller. I don't know which one it is.
once again, though, the Council of Foreign Relations are any agency you want to talk about in the United States and actually around the world. Once again, they're not getting together on their own and making up these ideas.
Yeah,
They're being told by the global billionaires that are trying to create a one world government what ideas they want them to push. Then they get together and act as if they're making this up. Same as the president comes out and makes statements or um, laws in Congress. These people are all being told what to do. You're
yeah,
electing people who are not in charge,
yeah.
and so I don't care what council it is; it's still being controlled.
Yeah, it would make sense that there's a group like that in every like major country. So they just
Well, every country has its own thing, and they just use whatever they have.
because it's funny, like
But
the
it's
narrative is usually very identical, like everywhere. Australia, what I mean, England, like they're all pushing the same philosophies right now, about like immigration and LGBTQ, like it's everywhere, like and it's the media that must be kind of supporting it, and the politicians are right behind it too. But it's so it's the same exact thing that's happening here. They're doing in all the major countries around the world. So there has to be like a group like that everywhere, and they consolidate groups, and they have the same people probably involved. But real quick, the point I was going to make about listening to her show on that Roman Empire, so kind of back to the climate change thing, he says that during the fall of, he explained kind of like the whole history of the fall of the Roman Empire, that it wasn't like an overnight thing, that it was like a kind of a gradual thing, but that even back then, climate change had a lot to do with stuff that affected their policies and their what the decisions they were making, as far as like make raising growing grain and all that stuff. So what I mean, I know they didn't probably bring it up like, oh, climate change is happening back then, but basically the planet goes through different stages forever, for
right.
hundreds and hundreds of years. Like it's just always been a natural thing that happened. But this
I mean,
time,
the
yeah, they're
area,
using it for sure for evil. So
right. Well, the area like in Egypt by the Nile, the Nile still runs through there, but it's mostly desert now. But it used to be grassland.
yeah, he mentions that.
This is
Mentioned that they
before,
relied a lot on Egypt for their food.
right, and this is before there was any um, industrial revolution, and we're polluting the environment, right? So how did that happen, right? So there was climate change, and it's happened over and over again. There's places that used to be underwater that now aren't, places that are underwater that weren't before, places that are desert that were lush, places that were
Yeah,
lush that are now, vice versa. I mean, this happens throughout history without our us doing anything. It's just called, you know, um, it just changes over time.
yeah,
And but as you gain one area that's more lush, you lose an area. It balances out. The earth is balances itself out. The earth is alive as well, and it reacts. Its atmosphere and environments react to the weather conditions, etc. And they're going to so it's going to balance out. You're always going to have areas that are good and areas that are bad. And basically, what happens, like with the Roman Empire, there's some areas that they were counting on for food went bad, so they have to adjust. And okay, now we gotta move these people to a better area. We got to get our food from somewhere else, etc. But that food and places to live still exist. It just changes
Yeah.
location.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of scientists that are trying to fight back. They've all been silenced. There's one in I have Ian. I think his name was Ian Plemmer, or something like an Australian. He got on. Well, I don't know if I played him. I might have played him on the show. He got on TV and just destroyed like all the scientists around the around the world, basically just going along this whole climate change agenda and stuff like that. That it's not real. I think another clip I played was the founder of the Weather Channel. Remember, I played that guy. He really tore up
Yeah,
tore the whole stuff.
yeah.
So
Hey, hey, real quick. So I looked up the Council of Foreign Relations, and it's an independent, nonpartisan think tank. Promotes understanding of international relations and foreign policy. It was started in 1921. Um,
yeah,
And it's all, and later on, I get down here a little further. It says the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, also includes the David Rockefeller Studies Program, billionaire think tank, um, made up fellow scholars as well as a bunch of different people.
yeah.
But the CFR is funded by private and industrial or institutional donations, so it's not actually um, a government
Oh no,
thing.
oh yeah, no, it's
But the fact David Rockefeller's in there, he's probably one of these billionaires in the oligarchy, the richest people ever.
yeah,
The
no.
Rockefeller.
If whatever you're looking at, see if you could find members like
Yeah, it
current
does have.
and former members. You'll see like all the major news reporters, probably like Barbara Walters and freaking all these guys. I can't even think. I can't remember most of their names, man. But yeah, most news reporters were part of it, and so basically, yeah, they're just rubbing shoulders with government. So it's just the
Right.
way it's a direct line, and that's like an open secret, I guess, for how they get the narrative, to the cable news and all that stuff.
Right. So I was thinking this was a government
No,
organization, but
yeah,
it's
no,
not.
that for sure. I knew that it was created by now which one, John D. Rockefeller, or which one was it? Or was that the original
Um, it
Nelson
just
Rockefeller?
says it just said it was connected to the Rockefellers.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I could look that up, but it didn't say which one.
yeah. No, I think you mentioned his name, but there's just so many. And it's crazy, man. That guy, fuck, he's been around for he was around for so long. He barely died like 5 years ago, maybe, like not that long ago. And he was one of the founders of that group. Like, so he was around for the creation of that, and he used it for like World War One, World War Two, and he barely died.
Well, it was started in 1921. It says so. That's right after World War One.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right.
Let's see.
Um,
Well, let's see who's in there. So, chairman of the board, David Rubenstein, but people I don't recognize their name.
yeah,
Um,
I might say some.
yeah, I
It's
don't.
most of the news pundits, whatever the hell they're called, like
Right.
Barbara
Oh, well,
Walters and
Larry Fink's in it. Larry Fink.
oh no, oh, there you
So now you got Rockefellers and Fink. So okay, these are actually. So this isn't a group that gets together and gets their orders. These are actually people who've given the orders.
go. Yeah, I remember
Because if you got Rockefellers in there, then these are. Ooh, Janet Napolitano was on here. Wow, from Fox News.
yeah, I'm telling you, all the major ones.
Um,
Shit, I want to
Not to say
build.
that makes her a bad person. I don't know. She could be getting. Um, okay, council member Stacey Abrams. You know her.
Oh yeah, from Georgia,
Yeah. Mm, let's see. Anybody else? Madeline Albright, Lamar
of
Alexander.
course.
Um, a lot of these names I don't know.
You don't
I'm
recognize
trying to find.
any cable guys, any news people?
Let's see. There's a bunch of names on here. Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty?
Yeah.
Fuck. But you know, yeah, because I remember in the
Anthony
2000s,
Blinken. Anthony Blinken.
Anthony Blinken.
Donald Blinken. Anthony Blinken's the Secretary of State right now.
Is he the one? Did you see that video of
Frickin'
somebody
Josh
from
Bolton.
who?
Josh Bolton.
Josh
Oh,
Bolton.
was it John Bolton? I was thinking. Never
John,
mind.
yeah, that's John Bolton's evil
It
little
was
brother.
like back and forth. I'm like, I'm on the good side. I'm on the bad side. I don't know. Like, figure it out, dude. Aaron Burnett, CNN anchor. I know
Oh
her.
my god, yeah, of course. There you go.
Right. So you got news people on here with
So,
with billionaires who are, really the ones. Been Jimmy Carter was on it.
you know,
I mean, this list just goes on and on.
yeah.
Bill Clinton, Chelsea Clinton. What the hell is Chelsea Clinton doing on? Chelsea Clinton and the Obama children have hundreds of millions of dollars, and they don't even do anything. Like you can see how corrupt the system is when your politicians' kids become worth a couple hundred million, like
Yeah.
out of nowhere, right? You got a royalty.
Well, they just pay themselves from those the Clinton Foundation stuff like that. She's probably got a
Right.
little chairman, and just she gets her little fee.
They get paid by different people around the world, and these billionaires probably as well to make public policy decisions and make public policy statements.
Yeah,
Um,
just like Hunter, probably the same
Richard,
thing.
right?
Same exact thing Hunter was doing. Just, they were paying
John
them for a
Edwards.
little bit of just their ear.
Dude,
But
this
I
list
remember
goes.
there's like a bunch of different groups like that. So a lot of people focus on Council for Relations, but they created like a bunch of different like versions of it. So
Right.
I don't know why, just to maybe throw it all off, so nobody really focus on which one is the worst one.
Like
But it's bad enough, you know
like
what I mean?
like trying to unravel all of this stuff is I don't know that you could do it in a lifetime. So, but
Yeah,
that's the beauty of what they did the other day with the Haitian duck thing. I
yeah,
think we should talk about that because that's
yeah,
a very simple one to unravel, and it shows absolute government corruption and absolute media
yeah,
complicity in that government corruption. Because if you Google or Bing or do a web search on Haitians eating ducks in Springfield, Ohio, you'll see every single story on there. Every news agency says there's no evidence
yeah,
of that, none. During a presidential debate, the presidential candidate and the moderators know that this story is true, and
yeah,
they said there's no evidence, yet we have the evidence, and it took me 5 minutes to find it. All I
yeah,
had to do was YouTube um, this Haitians eating ducks in Springfield, Ohio, and in the video that you got multiple citizens going to a council meeting in mid-August and explaining what's going on in their community. And you have white people, black people, old people. You have a variety of people, right? So, you can say, well, these people are racist. Well, the black guys in there saying, hey, man, these guys are freaking cutting the heads off of ducks in the park and just walking away with them.
yeah,
Right. Obviously they're going to eat them. Right. That's the most logical thing. The other lady's saying they're making up some sort of weird stews, and they're stopping
yeah,
on the side of the road, getting roadkill and skinning it right there and gutting it right there on the side of the road.
yeah,
They're doing all kinds of crazy shit in this town, and and all these people came to the city council meeting way before the debate, a month or so, almost a month before the debate. The public city council meeting, which is on video, so the news agencies all know about this video, and they all are lying to you. Why would they all lie to you? Because the government is lying to you, and they are controlling the media. Otherwise, the media would just tell the truth.
Well, for sure, the point of that debate was to destroy Trump. They try to just
Right.
take him out again, but as usual, and holy crap, man, it just keeps backfiring on them. So the whole debate has just backfired. They didn't get. I don't think they didn't get at all the result that they wanted. They thought that they were gonna, just humiliate Trump and show Kamala in a whole different light. Everybody praises that. Oh, she did good. She had all of her lines rehearsed. I'm sorry, and but she didn't get, what they're saying is that she didn't get at all any bump from that debate. That actually was kind of negative towards her. That she looked like a bitch, like during the whole debate, and she didn't reveal anything about herself. So they're saying that when they did polling with undecideds, that none of them felt like, any reassurance from her that they knew her better, they knew her policies better, or anything like that. So she got nothing out of it. I think that's why they were asking for another debate immediately right afterward. Usually you don't do that if you think you really won. But yeah, for sure. Them fact checking. I heard that right away. As soon as they started fact checking Trump, I was like, "What the hell? Like they're fact checking him? Like right? You know what I mean? Like during the
Right. They're like,
debate."
oh, I'm sorry, Trump, there's no evidence for that. Okay. But then Kamala Harris says, if Trump says if he gets elected, what do you say? There's going to be, how do they put it? There's going to be not burning in the streets, but a bloodbath in the streets, or bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath if he doesn't get elected. That's what he said.
Oh
And
yeah.
the moderators there, and Kamala Harris, everybody there already knows that he was talking about the auto industry, but they leave that part out. He says if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath in the auto industry. In other words, the auto industry is
Yeah.
going to suffer tremendously, and they all know that. And so Kamala Harris says that, and the people who are so eager to fact check, they know it
Yeah.
too, and they say a word about it. They don't
Yep.
call her out on it. They know she's lying. It's a blatant lie that they know, and they don't say anything about it. So of course it was rigged, but I mean, I expected that. It's government propaganda news, ABC, 100% government controlled,
Yeah.
100% billionaire oligarchy, world government controlled news. And you know this with the duck story.
Yeah.
I mean, they really showed their hand on this one because they screwed up. They expected Trump to say that, but they did. I'm sure they didn't know for sure if he would, and they probably have a bunch of things that they thought he might say also, and they were
Yeah.
ready for, and he didn't say. So they have a whole list, and they're ready for it. And the way they tried to do that was funny because they're like, "Well, we talked to the city manager of Springfield,
Yeah.
Ohio,
There's
and
no
they
credible report. Yeah. It was like a weak
right,
debunk. Yeah.
right." But if that's the case, what about the city council, or the city council meeting where all the residents came and voiced their concerns over people eating ducks?
Yeah.
Right. This is on video. So what they're saying is, hey, the city manager for Springfield, Ohio, is just on our payroll. He's just another corrupt government official that we corrupted to say what we want him to say, because we're going to completely ignore the city council meeting where all the citizens voice what they're seeing in their neighborhoods, right? They don't matter because we got somebody in government to lie to you.
Nah, they didn't even get anybody. They just made that up. They know they're not gonna reveal no names, so it's a mystery person that's never gonna be revealed. So they probably saw the stories that were true, but like you said, they probably were expecting him to bring that up, and so they just had that little weak debunk, and they were able to move on. And if you notice, every time they try to debunk them, they would just move on to a next topic, and they were being like really crass about it, like just rude. That even that time we brought up when they were talking about J6, how do you feel any responsibility? What the question was something like that, and then he's like, well, it wasn't me, it was Nancy Pelosi took blame for it. Yeah, but we're not talking about Nancy Pelosi. But anyway, like they just moved on to a whole other topic, like, so just completely just trying to humiliate him. But I think that what they did is that once again they just exposed themselves, and so a lot of people are pissed. A lot of people think they owe an apology. But I know they're not gonna get it. But then again, I was thinking like even Trump's people really should have done some research. It turns out that the girl moderator was a sorority sister of Kamala. Like what the hell? And then obviously the president or the CEO of ABC right now introduced Kamala to her husband. Like they go back like 30 years or some shit. Like
And
how
ABC is
these
owned
should have
by
been things.
Jeff Bezos.
These should have been things Trump brought up during the debate. You know what I mean? Like once they were started attacking him, he should have said. He
Right.
should have mentioned like, "Hey, so you guys are sorority sisters? Like, how the hell is that fair?" You know what I mean? Like, but I wonder if they even knew.
Well, and ABC is owned by Jeff Bezos, correct? And
Is
so
he? Oh,
Jeff Bezos gave Biden $8.9 million in the 2020 election, and gave Trump none. So the news station's owner funds Biden and Harris campaign to the tune of 8.9 million in 2020, and gave Trump none. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's blatant. But like I said, this duck story is beautiful because you have the people on video at a city council meeting, and then you have a presidential debate where they know about it and they completely lie to the American people about it. And then if you want to look for this news story about it, every news story says no evidence, no evidence, debunk, debunk. But then you can watch the video yourself, and there they are,
Yeah. Well,
admitting, or not admitting, but you got the citizens talking about exactly what they've witnessed, right?
yeah.
And it's
Well,
exactly what Trump said.
you know what's kind of interesting about the whole duck thing is that it kind of ties, it kind of explains that thing that I told you about a couple of weeks ago about the affective system and the cognitive system.
Right.
I think the affective system is basically concepts and ideas that'll hit you emotionally, and so in
Right.
propaganda they use affective system because they're easier for your brain to process. So it'll be something sad, something you know what I mean, something that'll hit you emotionally, and they'll sneak in some sort of propaganda message in that, and that's what they use constantly. And then the cognitive system is your thinking the system, the thinking part of your brain that'll try to process information, and it's more complicated. So your brain doesn't really, it doesn't take that propaganda like as easily as the affective system. So I think they recognized that this whole duck story was going to be an easy propaganda thing that was going to hit people. And sure, because I thought it was funny on Twitter. You know, everything really goes to Twitter first. So when I started seeing all the duck memes, I was like, "What the hell?" I didn't even know the story, and I was like, "What the hell?" Are they posting these kitten and I'll show the let me show them right now. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about, and then literally 2 days later, I thought this one was funny.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
hilarious.
I got this one right here too, a duck one. Ducks for Trump. And so 2 days later, after this, you never seen kind of like a meme, you know what I mean, like a phenomenon take off like this. It's already in Congress. I forgot what the hell the name of the Congress. He was a Democrat. He had somebody print up a big poster board, and he started talking shit to another congressman for reposting that. I can't. And he started acting like he's about to cry. I can't believe you're posting this. Like these people are coming here because they're
Oh,
coming
that
from
Eric Swalwell, that
that
guy's a
swallow there.
moron.
That guy. You saw that? Yeah. So
He's a guy. He's a moron who thinks he's intelligent. It's hilarious.
yeah, that guy's a scumbag.
He's not
But
very bright, but he thinks he is.
but not only that, but they started doing reports right away on the news on MSNBC right away. They just started attacking this whole idea because I think they knew, you know, like I said, it's part of the effective system. It's going to register real easy with people.
Right.
Even I was listening to Tim Pool last night. Even he was saying the same exact thing that yeah, like you know when people watch the debate, the only thing they're gonna remember is Trump talking about oh what they're killing ducks. Like you know what I mean, I'm gonna research it. Like it's just funny. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna stick with them. And so once they see memes that were you know Trump is you know defending ducks and cats, like it's gonna look bad on Kamala. You know what I mean? Like oh she doesn't like ducks and cats. Like so it's just kind of funny
Right.
how they start attacking this whole idea like so so aggressively. And then JD Vance, he brought up the best point about it. That did you see that when he forgot that chick? I don't know if it was Aaron Burnett that interviewed him, and she started saying like, how could people talk about these cat memes and all this stuff like that, and when she was saying that there's no credible reports about it, and he's like, I don't know if there is or not, but we just think it's funny that it takes a duck meme for you guys to even care about the situation. Like if you guys did your, if you were investigative reporters or whatever, did your job, you'd go investigate and talk to the people there, see if it's true or not. But you guys don't care about what the immigrants are doing. But it takes a duck meme for you guys to even pay attention. So I thought he brought up a good point about that. But
I think the better point is how can that reporter say there's no credible evidence when I gave you the video. I've shown people the video. It's not like it's hard to find
yeah, no,
of
that's like
city
I'm saying.
council
They're just
meeting.
trying to shut it down. They just know it's going to
Yeah,
work.
right. But the fact that You have the media in a presidential debate openly, intentionally lying about that. And then if you want to try to search this yourself, you're going to find story after story that says all of them, every single story from BBC to whatever, every news agency out there, no evidence, no evidence, no evidence. They're all saying the same thing. And then
Yeah.
you go to YouTube and type in Haitians eating ducks in Springfield, Ohio, and you can watch a time stamped video council meeting of residents there, multiple different residents, talking about how they're killing ducks, eating roadkill on the side of the road, shit like that.
Yeah.
And on and on. There's other stuff they're doing that's crazy. That town, everyone's leaving. These people are all like, we're moving. We have
Yeah.
to get out of here. The town is lost.
Yeah. It
So
sucks.
all this stuff is out there, and they're acting like none of this stuff is happening because they are all in lockstep like a bunch of Nazis.
Yeah.
Ironically, since they want to call everybody that opposes them Nazis, they actually are Nazis who all give government talking points. You might as well have Joseph Goebbels and Hitler in charge of our government because you're getting down to the same exact thing. Where how is it possible that not one news story, not one news organization in the world, because this is not even just here, it's outside of here, the BBC's on it, everybody, I haven't seen one news story that actually tells the truth, and the truth is simple to find,
Yeah.
but they're just counting on people to do, oh, I'll just Google search it, and then they got you, because you're going to see is every news story says that it didn't happen, and you're going to walk away and go, well, Trump's a liar.
Yeah.
YouTube it, and you can find it simple, a time stamped August 13th, 2024 city council meeting where the residents detail out them going into the park, cutting ducks' heads off, and then walking away with them.
Yeah. No, it's blowing up. Even I was even thinking like even Kamala supporters are gonna start saying exactly that. Like, oh, it's not true. It's not real. It's just another lie. Blah blah blah. But people are posting these videos already. Like even Larry Alger posted one last night. Ah man, it was horrible. I couldn't even watch it, man. It was. I'm assuming a Haitian or something. He's doing bench press, push-ups on a cat, like killing it. So it's like a video. I was like, oh man, why do they even post stuff like that? But he was trying to
Yeah,
suffocate to eat the damn thing. I guess like
and the city of Springfield said they had no reports of any of these incidents. So the city of Springfield, Ohio said that, yet they have this city council meeting where they have multiple reports of it.
yeah,
Right? So this is a beautiful thing because anybody who's doubting that your government and news propaganda is lying to you over this stupid issue of ducks, they have proven without a doubt that the government and media are in lockstep propaganda. And if they're going to lie to you about Haitians killing ducks, they're going to lie to you about everything, because this
yeah,
is one they don't have to lie about. It doesn't look good for them because they're are flying these people into cities and just they're fucking airdropping people with the Haitians are doing what Haitians do. This is what
yeah,
they do where they come from. So they're going to do what they do, and you drop them into the middle of Midwest fucking America, right? And you're going to have this culture clash, and they know it,
yeah,
and they don't want people to know about that. But the duck or the animal eating thing, it's pretty bad, but it's just the fact that they're lying to you about that. Then they're lying to you about climate. They're lying to you about everything. And there's no news story. There's no news agency. ABC, NBC, CBS, BBC, the whatever, Associated Press, whatever. None of them could actually find the video I found.
yeah.
None, none of them.
Exactly.
There, I mean,
Yeah,
these guys are. But you'll watch their news as if they're these amazing journalists, but they couldn't do what I did in 5 minutes. Like
yeah,
it's stupid. Of course, they know that they know about this stuff, and they're lying to you, which means they're lying to you about everything to get what they want, and that is not freedom. That is not press that's objective. This is a corrupt system from head to toe, and this story absolutely proves it. They screwed up here.
yeah,
They made a big mistake here and opened the door even to Democrats and people who believe in these news agencies. Tell me why they are lying to you about that.
yeah,
Like, play the. Can you play that video?
yeah. The city council.
yeah, play the video so that, people can see that, the people themselves speaking and the news lying about what the people say.
I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless that were trying to camp out, and I have made concessions with them, and I try to help them the best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property. But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard, and I can't. Look at me, I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. My husband is elderly, and last night, after living in this home for 45 years, he said, Noelle, guess what? It's time to pack up and move. He said, we can't do this anymore. He said, it's killing both of us mentally. I don't understand what you expect of us as citizens. I mean, I understand they're here under temporary protected status, and you're protecting them, and I understand that our city services are overwhelmed and understaffed, but who's protecting us? If we're protecting them, who's protecting me? I want out of this town. I am sorry. Please.
Oh, crap.
I want out of this town. I am sorry. Please.
And the sad thing is, I mean, the good thing, I guess, also is that these people all spoke really clearly, really directly. They each one of them made great points, and it's a sad thing, man, that they got to deal with.
Yeah, and you can tell they're just regular people.
Yeah. Like,
give me a reason to stay.
You guys are just sitting up there and suicide. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into... They flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them, like. And it's going to get bigger, and it's only going to get worse. And y'all sitting up there in these chairs, all y'all need to get out here and do something. Y'all making hundreds of $1,000s. Y'all need to put on a T-shirt and some Crocs, and then y'all need to come out here in these streets, and y'all need to go out here and I'm out here before the police is. Like, y'all need to do something, bro. Y'all really got to stand on business. Y'all getting paid all this money just to wear a suit and sit in a chair. I think it's crazy, bro. That's where they come from, and that's what they do. That's their country. I don't know what they got going on over there, but they can't do that over here. And if y'all just getting paid from it and then y'all ain't doing nothing about it, I think that's super weird, bro. Y'all got to stand on business. Y'all got to really, like, step up. Like, it's lame, bro. Like, for real.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Driving around Springfield, I was looking at the giant holes in some of our buildings. I noticed all of the old familiar spots bearing new signs in an unfamiliar language. I watched as groups of strangers walked around the city like lost tourists, and it was like a punch in the gut. A terrible sadness came over me, and I began to cry. I immediately started to think back to when I was little, walking from my grandma's house on South Fountain through downtown and all the way to Snyder Park. I feel like we have been invaded by some sort of pest. I'm angry that my friends and family are packing up and moving away. I'm angry that foreigners are using up the resources that were set up for the Americans that reside here. I'm angry that another country's flag was being flown in our city. I'm angry when I see our businesses and recreational areas littered with garbage left by people that do not know or understand our laws and culture and are making no attempt to learn about them. And let me be clear, this is not about race. This is about people being given the privilege of coming here from another country and having no respect for our people, our land, or our life's work. People living their life here the way they did in Haiti, angry, stealing, polluting, living in filth, and acting like animals. These are not civilized people. Opening containers in our grocery stores, helping themselves to what's inside and throwing the rest onto the shelves and floors. Pulling off of the highway to publicly clean and gut the roadkill lying there in front of anyone that passes by. Stealing animals from farmers and leaving their severed heads at the side of an old school where children play. relieving themselves in public, making some barbaric stew out of the birds that live in our park. This is insanity, and it has to stop. What will become of Springfield? Where will we be in 5 years? The thought terrifies me.
There have been first-hand reports of wrong-way drivers on one-way streets, drivers ignoring stop signs, and red lights and other traffic issues. There is the impact on businesses having to deal with language, cultural
Hey, can we stop it there?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they keep talking about ducks and all that.
Yeah, I didn't even listen to it after that myself because there you go. That's plenty. You know, you got two different people there. They're going in the park.
There is strain on public resources, both governmental.
So you got two different citizens there talking about how they're going into the parks and going to farms, beheading animals, and eating them.
Yeah.
But if you listen to a presidential debate, they want the people of America to decide who's the president, and they are going to lie to you about this. They know they're lying. The journalists who are supposed to moderate a presidential debate for the most powerful position in the world are blatantly, knowingly lying to the American people. And if they'll lie to you about this, they will lie to you about anything. And they are lying to you about everything, but this is 100% proof that they're lying to you about it. Like the black guy, he's like, what are you doing, bro? They're going into the park, cutting the heads off of ducks and walking away with them and eating them. Oh, that's outrageous. That's extreme thing to say, Mr. Trump. That didn't happen. We have the city manager who said it didn't. No. They're lying blatantly, and they're caught red-handed on this one. This one isn't even one that you have to even try to go 3 steps to figure out. This is a 1-step government and media collusion in your face.
Yeah. You know what's crazy too? Another point about it is that all this outrage over this, over ducks, but you got like people like Lake and Riley, all these people that got murdered by immigrants and all this stuff, and no outrage over that, like no pushback on that, like they just.
Well, there are people who are outraged on it, but the government isn't, and the media isn't, because they're working together. They don't.
Yeah, I'm talking about the media. Yeah. Like the media doesn't push back. They're not mad about that. They just.
Well, the media cares about what they're told to care about by the government, and the government's told what to care about by the billionaires.
No. But I got another video. Did you see that press conference that Merrick Garland made?
Not sure.
Check this out. Let's see. It's right here. So basically what people are interpreting from this is that he's basically threatening basically the people that if they don't accept the outcome of the election, that they're. Oh no, this ain't the one. I'm sorry. That is another one. I'm not sure if he brings it up in this same one, but he defends the Department of Justice, saying that they're not partisan, or was it partisan by they're not weaponizing the Justice Department towards any political opponents. Hold on, let me play it. I'm not speak for this guy.
This provision of the principles ends with an admonition. Quote, federal prosecutor.
Oh crap, I stopped it.
Provision of the principles ends with an admonition. Quote, federal prosecutors and agents may never make a decision regarding an investigation or prosecution for the purpose of affecting any election or the purpose of giving an advantage or disadvantage to any candidate or political party. In short.
I mean,
what do you think of that already?
Honestly, I might as well be listening to Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister for the Nazis. I mean, this guy is as corrupt as you could possibly be. His very soul is corrupt. I mean, he's
listen to everything he said. Yeah, like it's just everything's like just ridiculous what he's saying.
Right. They clearly have weaponized the justice system. Yeah. I mean, you have Trump going to court every day about everything, and yet you have the Bidens with 23 shell companies laundering money from China, Russia, Ukraine, and Romania that has been proven before Congress, and the Attorney General will do nothing about it. But I'm not weaponized. Of course
Well,
you
like
are.
I got
You're. Go ahead.
we could listen to this, and then I was listening to Larry Kudlow last night, and he thought it was just ridiculous too, and he had some lawyer to talk about it. I'll play a clip right after, but well, just check out everything he says. It's unbelievable. This guy could see this shit with a straight face. Like, these guys just really believe their lies, man. Like, they're just trained actors, like, for real.
We must treat like cases alike. There is not one rule for friends and another for foes. One rule for the powerful
right
and another for
right
the
there,
powerless.
Yeah.
Okay, he just said we have to treat like cases alike.
You know?
Okay, so you have President Trump with documents,
Yeah.
classified documents. You have a Biden with classified documents. Which one got in trouble?
No, exactly. Yeah.
Under this Attorney General? One isn't prosecuted, the other is. They're exactly the same case, except Trump actually had the right to have them because he was president. At the time, Biden had not been president. He was vice president. Biden, they did nothing to him. Trump, they went after him legally. So right there in his opening statement, he contradicts himself and says that he's corrupt and he's the liar.
The whole
and he
thing.
is a corrupt liar.
I was gonna say that what's the term? Deflecting? Is that what the one? What you guys what you use? They deflect basically.
Yeah.
How do you define that? It's basically when you call somebody what you're, you describe somebody. Projection. Sorry, they project.
When you
basically.
you project your own bad qualities onto somebody else. You accuse them of being who you are. That is I mean, if you listen to the news media and the government,
yeah,
that's their MO. They do. That's exactly what everything they call Trump is what they are.
That's
they
what
call
I was about to say, man.
They're racist.
Yeah, I never really paid attention to that term until you brought it up. But yeah, I think that's exactly their number one policy. Just project. We're gonna do what we're gonna do, but we got to project and just blame them.
I don't think they know they're projecting. It's a psychological phenomenon that people do on a subconscious level. They don't. I don't think
this many people, and this many like different subjects, like they just project.
Well,
like,
I'm not saying
everything
all
they
don't
do.
know.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they all don't know that they're projecting, but you'll notice this in your regular life where people will do that. They'll be accusing you, and you'll be thinking in your head, "Dude, that's what you do."
Yeah. That's right? True. But
and they don't realize they're doing it. So some of these people do, and some don't. Some thought it through, some haven't. But they do know that they need to say these things. They all know what to say, but some of them don't realize the psychological phenomena that's occurring, and some do. But it doesn't much matter. Some aren't just, they're not psychologically projecting. They're just saying what they're told to say. And some are psychologically projecting.
In that world, at that level of government, these guys, it has to be a strategy. It has to be for sure. Like, if they have a propaganda book, it has to be at the top of it. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to do all kinds of shit, but you have to blame them for the things you're doing. And that's how you basically throw off the public. You start thinking like, well, they're doing that, and therefore they don't pay attention to you. They got to really do research to.
And you're probably right about that. I hadn't really given a lot of thought whether they're intentionally going, hey, this psychological phenomenon projection, let's use that, or if it's just occurring.
They're just doing it too often. And this video is a prime example.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, just listen to the rest of him. Everything he says is just ridiculous. Like how could you really stand there and think like, you could say this shit. And then I'll play that clip with Kudlow. She brings up a bunch of good points, a bunch of just examples of how full of shit this guy is. Hold on, hold a second.
One rule for the rich and another for the poor. One rule for Democrats and another for Republicans.
Look at that.
Or different rules depending on one's race or ethnicity. To the contrary.
That's exactly what you're doing.
We have only one rule. We follow the facts and apply the law in a way that respects the Constitution and protects civil liberties. Over the past 3.5 years, I have spoken to you often about the importance of these norms. I know that to many outside of this department, they may seem abstract or even inconsequential. They are anything but, and they must not be taken for granted. For us, adhering to these policies, principles, and norms in everything we do is how we fulfill the promise that is foundational to our democracy, that all people will be protected equally under the law, and that all people will be held accountable equally under the law. Our norms are a promise that we will fiercely protect the independence of this department from political interference in our criminal investigations.
I mean, wow.
I was listening to
Hey,
Harris.
he promised.
Huh?
He promised he wouldn't do it. Must be true.
Harris
Hey,
Faulkner.
can I get the pinky on that? Can I get the pinky promise on that? Or
Yeah, I know.
like blatant lies.
I wonder, man, if this guy's kind of like, I don't know how I don't know if he wrote this shit or if he just forced to say this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. It's written for him.
yeah, he's for sure reading. Harris Faulkner had a guest on because they were talking about it this morning, and they said, well, you know what I mean, right away, you know what I mean, like you're saying all this shit, like, you know, that you know, it's not weaponized, but meanwhile, you're the number 3 of the Justice Department dropped out, quit the Justice Department to go work for for one of the cases against Trump, like.
Yeah, in New York. Like he took a pay cut.
Yeah.
And a prestige cut.
Number 3.
To go prosecute Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally using the federal prosecutors or the federal government to go after him in a state, and he had to quit, take a pay cut, but he didn't take a pay cut. He took a pay raise because he's going to get money on the backside of that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
and then he'll get a position even above that, or you know, he will be taken care of for what he's doing for the Gestapo.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot who it was. Malkay brought up some guy. I forgot what he brought.
Hey, and real quick.
Yeah.
So he says we gotta prosecute Republicans and Democrats equally. You got January 6th, where you know they prosecuted everybody. If you're even there, you didn't have to go in the building.
Yeah.
You got prosecuted federally. Then you have them taking over Portland and Seattle and rioting, burning shit, attacking people. None of them get prosecuted.
Yeah, that clip I'm about to play. She brings that up.
Their government entities fighting for the corrupt government, they're not prosecuted at all. So I mean, this guy, it's so obvious, and he's lying through his teeth. To me, that's a very weak man. He's just a weak man who's easily manipulated, and he has no morals. And that's really what this all comes down to: is people without morals, you know, being corrupted.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if this is the same speech where he talks about the election and.
Our norms are a promise that we will not allow this department to be used as a political weapon. And
yeah.
Our norms are a promise that we will not allow this nation to become a country where law enforcement is treated as an apparatus of politics.
Look at
it. Already is.
Yeah. It says on screen, wait for applause. Shut up.
And all the Nazis stand up and applaud?
Jobs, both during which I served in different jobs, both career and non-career in this department and in a completely different job in the judicial branch. Justice operates. So we took steps to better protect the department's criminal and civil law enforcement decisions in our democracy. We published new policies to guide prosecutorial discretion with respect to charging, pleas, and sentencing. We supplemented our state secrets privilege policy to ensure that the United States invokes that privilege only when there is genuine risk to national security.
That's
and
why you guys went into
department
Catholic
leadership
churches.
restated and demonstrated through our actions again and again.
I don't know. You got the point on this shit. I don't want to play this. It's like 8 minutes long. I don't want to hear this shit. Guys.
Yeah, literally annoying to listen to that piece of shit.
Yeah. Let me play the other clip on Kudlow. I don't know the lady's name. I think he mentions her name. Hold on. Here.
And another for foes, friends, and one rule for. There is not one rule for friends and another for foes. One rule for the powerful and another for the powerless. One rule for the rich and another for the poor. One rule for Democrats and another for Republicans.
So listen to all the examples.
Quite extraordinary, in my judgment. Not a lawyer, but still quite extraordinary. Joining us now, a very good lawyer, Carrie Urban, Fox News legal editor. Carrie, thank you for helping us today. I'll just let you begin. What do you make of what he said?
I have no doubt that Attorney General Garland believes what he said, but unfortunately his words are divorced from the reality of his department's actions. And Larry, I've made a list, just some examples of things that this department has done over the last several years that has made everyone question its integrity, particularly with respect towards how this department treats Republicans and conservatives. Let's start with the parents, investigating angry parents at school board meetings. Remember that one? Attorney General Garland directed the National Security Division, which is normally responsible for investigating terrorism offenses, to look at angry parents at school board meetings who are worried about their kids' education. How about this? For the first time in history, DOJ is now prosecuting people who blow off congressional subpoenas. And, oh, what do you know? It only happens to be Trump aides that they're prosecuting on that front. Right. How about the fact they didn't prosecute any of the BLM protesters who destroyed Washington, D.C. and cities across the country, but they vigorously went after pro-life activists who, in chalk on a sidewalk in front of an abortion clinic in Washington, D.C., said that preborn Black lives matter. In fact, a 3-judge panel in that case here in Washington said that the Department of Justice was selectively enforcing the law against these pro-life folks.
Right.
Yeah, selectively. Of course, then let's not forget that someone tried to murder Justice Brett Kavanaugh. That was 2 years ago, Larry. That still hasn't gone to trial. It doesn't go to trial until next June. Yet somehow they...
I don't remember that. What the hell happened? You ever remember that?
Yeah. That was after Schumer was giving a speech, and he said, Judge Kavanaugh, you Supreme Court Justice, you unleash the whirlwind and you'll reap it. And then everyone started protesting outside of there. And someone came, I don't know, he came with weapons, but he ended up getting caught. But he came there to obviously kill him or hurt him.
Oh, shit. I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. It's illegal. It's illegal to protest, like I believe outside of a Supreme Court justice's house. But those people were allowed to do it.
Yeah.
Because it goes to the foundation of our very separation of powers. Because Supreme Court justices are the bulwark. They're the stopgap on the executive and the legislative branches when they make decisions that are Nazi-like or whatever. They're in violation of civil rights. The Supreme Court, that's why they have lifelong appointments, so that they can't be politicized. And so to allow people to go to their house and try to politicize them is illegal. And they did nothing about that. So you're allowed to protest people outside of Supreme Court justice houses, according to the FBI and then the DOJ, Eric Garland, which is illegal. But you can't go protest at the Capitol, which is legal. Now that's illegal. So it depends on who you are. He's 100% lying because he's enforcing laws that don't exist and ignoring laws that do exist. And it's 100% based on politics.
Yeah. This guy just has no shame, man, just to go out there and say all those things.
And the thing that she said about him, she thinks he wholeheartedly believes what he's saying. 100% no. The guy is he's a weak man. I can tell that. But he's a very corrupt, immoral man. So he doesn't believe anything he's saying, because if he did, he wouldn't be in that position. He would be too stupid to even get that position. I mean, granted, they're going to put stupid people into positions to use them. But at that position, you have to, he's been in a lot of positions like he was talking about. So he's not a stupid person. So there's no way you would have to be borderline retarded to not see the justice system being weaponized politically.
Yeah.
So and he's the one who's in charge of he's the attorney general. So he's a big part of that. So he's complicit in it, and there's no way he doesn't know it. So he 100% knows. He doesn't believe what he's saying. He's out there lying and doing what the billionaire oligarchy tells him to do.
So he as an attorney general, he's in charge of the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice oversees like FBI and all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so the attorney general.
Yeah, he's like the top of federal law enforcement, essentially. But he doesn't see any of this. The FBI sent undercover agents into Catholic churches, but they didn't send any FBI agents into mosques.
Yeah.
So that's political.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's for sure.
What did Catholics do that threatened America? Right. Yeah. Mosque. I'm not saying everyone in a mosque could be a terrorist, but generally terrorism is from Islam. And so if you're going to go into a house of religion, which you shouldn't unless you have good grounds, but if you're going to go into one, it would be the mosque. They didn't go into any other churches, just the Catholic churches. And they tried to get the priest and people in the church to inform on the people who came to church.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is true. This is a true story. This is the government that Eric Garland runs, where you're infiltrating houses of worship because of politics, because these generally are going to be conservatives who are going to vote for Trump and against them. So now we got to make them pay because they're threatening our power. That's it. That's the only reason they're in those churches.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You're in school board meetings, arresting parents. You're in churches. These are people who are generally responsible, law-abiding citizens, right? By definition, they normally are. And those people generally aren't going to vote for a corrupt government. Therefore, we need to eliminate them, scare them, intimidate them, make them either not vote or vote for us. Or at least if you're going to vote, you're going to be quiet about it. You're not going to go out there and voice your opinion and try to stop what we're doing. Because if you do that, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely meant to kind of disrupt or just kind of dissolve, like American traditions and stuff like that. And, normal, just everyday, I guess you could say, patriotic behavior and stuff like that, anything that's just normal.
Right. Well, they're like the January 6th, the Catholic churches, and a bunch of these things, they are 100%. And really, the January 6th one is probably the best example. This is an example of you do not question the government. If you do, we will throw you in prison. Because most of the people there, all they did was go and question the government and and the validity of an election. That's it. That is 100% legal. And if you do that, we will lock you up. And the intention of that is to send a message to people like us and anybody else who has that same mindset, that if you want to have that mindset, you keep quiet about it.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing there. It is an attempt to silence opposition politically. And he's very instrumental in doing that. So for him to say he's not doing that it's laughable. You're the very man who's doing it.
Yeah. I don't know. She brings up a couple more examples and finish this right here.
To push through all of these cases against Donald Trump. And speaking of the Supreme June, yet somehow they go to trial until next June, yet somehow they managed to push through all of these cases against Donald Trump. And speaking of the Supreme Court, of course, then let's not forget that someone tried to murder Justice Brett Kavanaugh. That was 2 years ago, Larry. That still hasn't gone to trial. It doesn't go to trial until next June. Yet somehow they managed to push through all of these cases against Donald Trump. And speaking of the Supreme Court, if you recall, after the Dobbs decision was leaked, all of those people showed up at the conservative justices' homes, bullying, harassing, intimidating them. There's a law in the books that protects against that kind of stuff.
Never enforced.
This Department of didn't enforce it. So the list goes on and on. I could be here all day.
No, Carrie, great reporting, and you're great.
She got a bunch of good examples, man. But yeah, just listening to that, I've been seeing clips of it for the past couple of days, and I just can't believe this guy.
He's been doing this the whole time. I bet, like I say, he's just a puppet, just like the rest of them. They're all puppets. He's just a puppet in a really high position. But yeah, he is 100% politicized the justice system. He didn't do it. But he's following his orders from his boss, our bosses, just like the president of the United States follows orders from their bosses. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, people will watch these debates like, oh, well, Kamala or Biden, maybe there's a difference. There's no difference. The boss remains the same, either one of them. They will do the exact same things they were doing before because they weren't doing them. They're just a facade you can look at to think that you know who's in charge and you had a vote on it. You don't. It's the billionaire oligarchy, or the billionaires in the background, the World Economic Forum, the BlackRock, Soros, etc., that are pulling all the strings around the world, not just here, but around the world. And they're doing it in order to get a one world government. So the people that are in charge politically in the United States aren't in charge. And even on the Republican side, I got Comer's now going to subpoena, who's he subpoenaing? Blinken. I want answers about this stuff. Bro, you had answers about the Bidens. I watched the congressional hearings. You guys laid out ironclad evidence of them having 23 shell companies and them taking money, millions of dollars from China, Russia, Ukraine, and Romania that we know of, and running that money through the shell companies and then filtering it out through the whole Biden family, right? You have this is racketeering and taking money from foreign powers for influence, and you have the evidence 100%. Yet you never impeached him. You didn't even try. You just talked about it. So you got Republicans that are full of crap too, because it's all an illusion that you have a choice, Democrat or Republican. None of them are running things. There's some people in there that are legit, but most of them, especially on the leadership level on both sides, are corrupt. And the oligarchy runs them. The billionaires run them. They don't run crap. No. They just talk about, like, we're going to do something. We're going to do something about this. We have 100% evidence of crimes that the president and his family have committed. 100%. And then they don't ever do it. Never. They never did it. Why would you not do it?
Yeah. Well, there's another, I guess he put together some sort of commission, some sort of something like that that's going to oversee, I forgot what they called it, something as far as in regards to the election. I don't know if he talks about it in this same speech, but they're basically saying that they're just threatening that you have to accept the outcome of the election no matter what, so that they're ready for any sort of resistance. Yeah, I don't think I got that clip, but well,
that's what they did last time with the January 6th. That's the whole point. If you dare question this election, now you know what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Like if you question it in a way that gets publicity, right? If it's actually a threat to the corrupt election the facade of an election that we have, because Kamala Harris is going to be president. It doesn't matter what the vote is. They're going to rig this election. She's going to be president. I find it hard to believe that Trump would actually get into the White House based on the absolute dictatorship that we are living in.
Yeah.
So they already know that they're going to rig the election if they need to. And more than likely they're going to need to, because Trump will win it by votes. So they're going to rig it, and now they're preparing. They prepared January 6th. That was a gigantic thing. The whole point of that wasn't to prosecute those people and make them pay for breaking the law. They didn't break the law, most of them. Some of them might have, I don't know, but most of them didn't, and they're in jail. So if you want to go and peacefully protest an election out in public, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
And that's what they're telling you. So they don't really even have to do much to stop that now. They made their point. I don't think people would do it now because, you know, you're throwing your life away. But your life doesn't mean much anyway under a dictatorship. And it's funny because, like I was talking to people about this election, and they're like, well, I was talking about how they raise energy prices to raise the price of everything to get people in debt so they can control them. And he's like, yeah, but the price of gas has gone down. I go, right, because the election's coming. As soon as it's over, it's going to raise. And another guy I was talking to, he was like, I explained to him how the media is nothing more than mouthpieces and controlled propaganda for the government, which is controlled by the billionaires. And he's like, I guess he didn't believe me, because then within not less than a week, he tells me, that Trump said that he started up the Keystone Pipeline, because we were talking about how they shut down the Keystone Pipeline, and that caused energy prices to raise as well as the regulations. But I go, Trump didn't say he started the Keystone Pipeline. I go, yeah, he did. I go, no, he restarted it after Obama stopped it. He's like, no, Obama continued it. And I go, well, let's just look. And it was simple. I just looked up some news stories, and they hadn't scrubbed these ones off the internet. So they're still there, where Obama's bragging about how the Keystone Pipeline's dead in 2015. He vetoed the legislation and said we're stopping the Keystone Pipeline. So I told him, I go, where did you get that information? He goes, I go, what news? Where did you see that? He goes, oh, I read it somewhere. I go, and this is what I've been telling you. I'm telling you that people are lying to you intentionally to get you to do the bidding of the bad people. And it's easily proved, right? It's not hard for you to figure this out. Bush started it. Obama stopped it. Trump restarted it. Biden stopped it. So, and I tell them, I go, so these people who are against climate change, the climate change is bad. Why would they stop a pipeline moving oil thousands of miles without diesel trucks? But instead they want to put them in thousands, if not millions, of diesel trucks, and have these trucks polluting the environment, traveling over the highways thousands of miles. Why would they do that? You go, I don't know. Right. It doesn't make any sense, right? But it does make sense if you understand that they are trying to increase the price of oil and coal and natural gas through stopping pipelines and regulating the crap out of them to make doing that business super expensive in the United States, while they're opening up the pipeline in Russia. So they're doing that in order to crush you financially.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing it. And you're voting for it. And even when this is explained to you, you don't want to believe it. So then you go find some more propaganda and spew that out without even checking it. It's crazy, dude. Anyway, I got sidetracked there.
Yeah, no, I was trying to look for the video of him talking about the election and what they want to do with all that. But I can't find it. I got let me see. I found
I mean, it'll just be the same last time.
They basically made an announcement. I'll let it right here. I'll read it out loud. There it is. So, national special security events are events of. Oh, hold on. No. No, this ain't it. This ain't the one. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, they basically, somebody made an announcement basically that they're gonna enforce the election no matter what, and people are just interpreting that as, yeah, we're gonna steal election, and if you do anything about it, you're fucking, we're coming after you. But yeah, as far as what you're saying, I mean, I hate. I'm sorry to keep bringing her up, but Mal K just kind of feels feels the same way. Just that the only way for her to win is that they gotta keep making the impression that she has a past victory.
Right.
So that's kind of why they do all the. I think why they're going crazy over the duck thing. Probably why they wanted another debate. Because they have to make it look like she won. Because if it doesn't look like it, and it's not looking like it, it's actually looking really bad for them. It kind of makes sense why they're making this threat now. That no matter, even if it doesn't look like she won, like, and she wins, you guys can't do shit about it. Like, we're working after you guys. Because man, just in regards to the the threats they're making and what you're saying, as far as they're not gonna let them in. It's just like I've brought it up before too. Like I can't see it either because recently he's made threats towards them that he's gonna come after anybody that did anything illegal. In regards to the J6 investigation, anybody that did anything legal towards the 2020 election. So he's making all these threats. So it almost seems impossible that they would say, well, fuck, if he gets in there, he's coming after us. Like, why the hell would we let him come in then? Like, let's just keep him out no matter what.
Right. Yeah,
Even
no matter what.
Even if it means the destruction of the fucking country. Like, fuck, let's just speed up this whole plan that we got. Which I guess is what we talked about, the council, not the council, the World Economic Forum 20 plan for 2030 agenda, whatever the hell it's called. So like we had mentioned before on the show, man, shit, this could be, what is it, September? We got like a month and a half left, possibly, of the United States.
Yeah.
Before they go complete global communist.
Yeah. So, like, they're going to do the same thing they did last time, and they might have other plans. I don't know what all their plans are, but last time it worked. And it's funny, like, so there's all these videos out there of the 60 Minutes Georgia election thing, because and I watched it, and they're like, well, the ballots are legitimate, and there's poll watchers there and all this stuff. And I don't know if the ballots are legitimate or not. I'm not saying they are or they aren't. But this whole story goes on about how legitimate it is, right? We did an investigation, and at the end, they're like, well, what time is it right now? 10:45. Oh, and the poll workers and everybody have left? Yeah. And they're counting ballots? Yeah. Yeah, but that's because they were going to stop counting ballots, but then the Secretary of State of Georgia called them up and said, no, you guys need to keep working. Well, so what you're saying is that the Secretary of State of Georgia knowingly told them to count ballots without poll watchers. That's a federal crime. That's illegal. And they gloss over that as if that's not important. That is important, right? That's proof that a law was broken in an election. And then on top of that, they said that they stopped the counting because of a leaky pipe. But that's not true. It was a leaky toilet, and we were there that morning when it happened. And they're right. There was a leaky toilet there, and it was reported earlier in the day. But that night, I was listening to it, and it came across the national news. Everybody heard this, that they're shutting down the counting in Georgia because a water main broke. This was broadcast. It's not a debate. This was broadcast. So they're lying about that, and that was the reason to get the poll watchers out. Then they closed the doors, locked the doors, and then they started counting ballots again. And they say by order of the Secretary of State of Georgia. That's a crime on the Secretary of State of Georgia then. And if he didn't do that and they just decided to count him in that county, then that's a crime there. Either way, it's an election crime, and they act like that's not that big a deal because they went home because they were going to stop counting. No big deal. But then they decided to keep counting. That's illegal.
Yeah.
Right? Now, who knows what those ballots were, if they were legitimate or not? Who knows if they and then they're talking about, well, in the county official, he looked at the count on the machines, and he knows how many there were when they left and how many were when they came back, and they match up and all this. Right. So the Secretary of State of Georgia is breaking the law openly by letting them count votes, according to the state of Georgia, without any election officials there. But we should trust the county official that he's telling the truth, or that he's not been corrupted by the Secretary of State telling him what to say, right? Show us the data, right? It's bullcrap. I don't know what they did with those ballots, if they're fake ballots, real ballots, double counting, whatever. If they did some, if there was, bull crap on that part. But I do know this: they counted ballots without election observers there intentionally, and that's illegal. So we have an election crime there that wasn't prosecuted.
Yeah.
So they'll do the same thing again. And you get your 60-minute stories, and you get your little clock tick 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 tick, and it sounds real professional. And you get these guys come on in suits and ties and important positions, and they're going to tell you very coherently how and it's a whole show to get your brain set to, this is a professional environment. These people are career newscasters and politicians, and they wouldn't lie to us, and they're going to give us the truth. They're all lying to you.
Yeah.
And they know they are. So the point is that they'll do the same sort of thing on the next one because they got away with it.
Shit, man. But I mean, I just think there's a lot more eyes on it this time. In 2020, it was right after the pandemic. Everybody was just exhausted. And even for me, back then, like I've always brought up, I wanted Trump to lose back then. And it seemed plausible. I just faced, even though there was all shadiness, I think I told you before, man. I said it that same night, like, you know what? I wanted them to lose, but something's not right. I don't want them to lose by them cheating. I wanted it to be fair and square. But it seemed plausible to me because I just felt, well, maybe everybody just hated Trump that much, because of all the propaganda that I had fallen for too. So I thought, so it seems plausible that everybody just hated him. Even though he was doing good things, so that's how he lost. And so I think a lot of people just went along with that same kind of idea. But this time, hell no. Now we've gotten 4 years of the alternative to Trump. With the economy, with the wars, with the immigrants. There's just no possible way that that more people aren't going to be paying attention if the election this time is as shady as it was in 2020. If they pull those same type of tactics, people Trump's already got a more than what he had in 2020. So he's got the black vote, he's got the youth vote, he's got like they're saying the Jewish vote is going towards him. He's got a big population Latino vote, for him. So if they try to pull anything like that, it's definitely gonna be way more obvious, and they're gonna piss a lot more people off. So that's why I think it's crucial that for Kamala, that's why they're going to extreme of not even letting her do interviews. They know they can't have any material out there that looks like she's just gonna be like the worst president or just the dummy that nobody wants to vote for. So yeah, man, it's just really on the fence, man. Like, what the hell is really gonna happen?
What's funny interesting really is during the debate, they're like, and Mr. Trump, are you going to accept the election results? Right. And then at the same time, this administration is vetoing and said they'll veto the SAVE Act, which is a bill that Congress has put forth, mostly Republican Congress has put forth, that calls for election integrity. You have to have an ID to vote. You have to be a citizen to vote. So they're saying, we're going to veto any law that would make our laws more, the integrity of our elections more likely. We're going to veto that. You shouldn't have to have an ID to vote in an American election. So the possibility of the election being fraudulent is way higher because of that. At the same time, they're like, we want you to accept the election, yet we're not going to require people to prove they're a citizen to vote.
Yeah.
Right. So and then on the, catching them, if you catch them again, like we did last time, if you catch them rigging the election, okay, you can be mad about it. You can have more people catch them, but what do you do with that information?
Yeah.
You give it to, guess who you give it to? Eric Garland. Guess what Eric Garland's going to do? He's not going to do anything about it, right? His side won. And rigging doesn't matter. They're not going to, and the media is going to spin it like they did on 60 Minutes with the Georgia case. So there's nothing. You can have the information, you can have the proof, but there's nothing you can do with that.
No.
Right? So you don't have anybody to enforce the law.
Yeah. I was saying, I posted something on X the other day. Basically all these, because even the crazy thing too is how the polls are going right after the debate. Like even on MSNBC, right after the debate, they're showing some pretty, what I would consider honest polls. That they polled some people and they were all saying that they didn't feel like more confident in Kamala. That basically didn't change anything. So for a long time, I thought all these polls that showed Kamala and Trump, Kamala up on certain polls by like 2%, and it was like neck and neck. Like it just doesn't seem believable at all. But now polls are coming out where they show what actually seems more realistic, that Trump's up by like 7 points, 15 points everywhere, like on almost every demographic. So I was thinking that if they're going to keep lying on these polls, they're trying to create what I keep saying is the impression that she has a path towards winning. So I was saying on X that we just need all the basically the way they call elections. It's usually the cable channels that call it. Right? Like they say, oh, we're calling it for Biden or Trump, each state one by one. And in 2020, everybody's pissed off at Brett Baer for calling at Arizona. They said for Biden before they'd even finished the counting and all that shit. So once all the news outlets are in sync, already called it for a particular candidate, yeah, it's done. So what I was saying is that on Fox, since that's the only place Trump seems to have a few little allies, I was saying that Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Judge Janine Pirro, all these people that claim, that they're defending Trump and they're for Trump, they need to call it out that it's bullshit if they call it on Kamala, even if it's live on air, even if they got to be escorted off live on TV, that some fraud has been committed, because we just need something outrageous to happen to have some sort of defense that, if they do try to steal it, that Trump won. Because if Fox calls it, MSNBC, CNN, AC, they're all going to call it. You know what I mean? If it's close, they're going to try to steal it as much as they can. But if, at least one honest or one group of honest newscasters, call it for what it really should be, basically based on everything right now, that's kind of what we need. We need something just crazy to happen, to stand a chance to fight it, if they try to steal it. Because, yeah, like I said, there's the report I was reading today that supposedly Kamala's all pissed off because, yeah, she whatever strategies they're using, she didn't get a bump in the from the convention. She didn't get a bump from the debate, and I forgot what the third one was. That she didn't get a bump from her interview. For her one single interview, she hasn't gotten any bumps at all. So whatever strategy they're using, it's just not working and shit. So it's just all backfiring on them. And then just as far as the debate, shit, I wasn't part of the biggest one that backfired. Because people really looked at her like she looked like a bitch, and they just all recognized that it was like a 3-on-1 debate, fact checking him, and then
and they didn't fact check her one time.
Not one time, and then they got no information out of her.
She lied blatantly.
Yeah, wasn't one of the questions in regards to Afghanistan withdrawal? Did they ask her that? I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, they talked about it.
Yeah, that she didn't even answer that question. The first question was, do you think people are better off today than they were 4 years ago? She didn't even answer that question. I thought Trump just dropped the ball majorly on that one, man. I was like, fuck. The whole time she was talking, she was doing the whole word salad bullshit, and she wasn't answering the question at all. She was just talking. She started talking about herself, and the question was, do you think people are better off today than they were 4 years ago? And I thought Trump. I was the whole time. I was like, fuck, Trump. Don't say anything. Just wait and say, do you need to give her a few more minutes to answer the question? But he didn't. He didn't say
good,
yeah, right. I was like, fucking Trump missed that one, man. Just a bunch of little times, man. But yeah, so she just basically didn't, the strategy with her is just keep her secret and just don't let her mess up and just try to run off the hype that she's the first black woman, and she's a former prosecutor, and just run off that she could do things and stuff like that. And one thing I wish people would kind of notice too, just pay attention, is that all of the questions that they were asking her, right away she would answer them with a full complete idea and no hesitation, obviously rehearsed. But if that's the case, if she has such good opinions and such well thought out ideas and plans for stuff like that, for whatever the question was, why the heck can't she do a damn press conference or an interview? You know what I mean? Like, it makes no damn sense. So I was hoping people could put that together. Like, if she's so, everyone was saying, oh, she was so poised and calculated, like, yeah, then why the hell can't she do an interview by herself or do a press conference and just answer questions off the top of her head like Trump does on a daily basis? Like, so, I hope people just could see the bullshit, man, that they're just propping her up and she's just a puppet, man.
She did one interview with CNN, the Communist News Network, and they it's a pre-recorded interview. What? I'm sorry. So you go to a government propaganda station and you don't even do it live. They're going to help you live, but they wouldn't even trust that. So they pre-record it so they can edit out and make sure that they only put out the pieces that make her sound good.
Yeah.
That should tell you right there.
Well, what did they say it was? It was like a 40-minute interview, and they only released like 18 minutes or some shit like that. Like,
well, we honestly wouldn't even know how long it was because we have to take their word for it. And these people have been caught on hidden cameras multiple times talking about how they rig elections and do various things, and their news is fake. They openly admit it. Well, not openly, but they get caught. They do admit it, but it's on hidden camera. But it's their own words. And it's funny because people will see those videos. I'll show those videos to people who don't think it, and they'll still be like, yeah, but that's just one producer. Okay. Yeah. So you have a producer of CNN saying that they intentionally rigged or skewed the news stories on Trump and Biden in order to get Biden to win. So that but that doesn't matter to you? There's only one guy. Do you need the cleanup lady to come in and say that she was in on it too? Or, I mean, how many, you know what I mean? Like, people just, they don't want to believe their own eyes and ears. And so anyway, yeah, you're right. She's being controlled. And the thing is, like I said, people get excited about, like, oh, Kamala Harris or whatever. It doesn't matter. Kamala Harris, Biden, Clinton, Obama, Bush, whatever. All these people have the same bosses.
Yeah.
They're none of them. And I didn't know that till Trump got in the race. And that's the biggest thing Trump did for us is that he exposed the deep state. I knew something was wrong because of JFK, but that's been exposed. So you can go ahead and get excited about having the first black female president, but she's not making any decisions. Now, she might come up with some ideas and say, hey, what do you think about this, boss? And then the bosses will let her know if they want that or not. And then if they like it, then she can go. One of her ideas can actually be something that's put into place. But if they don't like it, then no, because she's not the top, and he's not the top. No president is the top. No American president runs things anymore except Trump. So I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. We're screwed either way.
It kind of, to me, like, I've been thinking about it all week too, man. That it kind of makes sense why they're pushing so hard for her. Why they went to the extreme of actually literally like a coup, pushing Biden out and propping her up like that. It's because she's an idiot. You know what I mean? She'd be a perfect puppet. She's the perfect person that they would want in running the country or at least at the head, being the head of the country, just the face, because they could control her so easily. They just manipulate her. She don't know shit. She ain't gonna understand these policies. She can't do an interview and just have have a freestyle, question and answer, little segment, whatever. Then for sure she's not gonna be able to run any policies or be in any meetings and really have like a coherent thought on really important issues like that. You know what I mean? So it makes sense that they would want her in that position, man, because they could just tell her what to do. Just here, we've already done everything for you. Just get in front of the camera and repeat these lines. That's it. Probably exactly what they did with Biden when you think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's exactly the same. And the IQ thing is it's useful, but the most important key to these puppets is just no moral compass. As long as they don't have any guidance from God or any morals,
Yeah.
then they'll do whatever for money and power. That's all
Yeah.
they care about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, no matter what happens to the country, your neighborhoods, your communities, they're fine. They're still going to be rich, wealthy, and protected. Then nothing will change for them. And as a matter of fact, they'll probably have more money and more of everything, and while you get less. So it's really about you could be a smart person as long as and be in these positions too, as long as your morals are bankrupt and that you'll do whatever you're told to do and lie about it.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem. You're in.
Yeah. For sure that, man. For sure, no moral compass, man. Because she knows
That's
what.
the key.
Yeah, that's true.
Because people keep thinking, like when people watch these debates or talk about the election and things like that, they're still thinking, we're voting for this particular person, and they're thinking they're thinking in right and wrong terms. But the people you were talking about, right and wrong is not important to them. They don't
Yeah.
care about Haitians or people coming across the border or LGBTQ people. None of those people, they don't care about any of those causes.
Yeah. They're just
But
using
those
them.
causes are great causes to cause division and chaos in the streets. And it makes it easier for them to control power when people are divided and fighting amongst each other. And that's the whole point. It doesn't matter. They don't care. Like, there's no way Kamala Harris or Biden or any of these people care about Felipe coming from Mexico.
Yeah.
They don't care about Felipe. They can give a shit less. Felipe could die on the street and they'd be like, oh, well, that's just one vote we lost. Bring in 5 more. Like, these are like cattle to them.
Yeah.
And it's funny that people actually still believe that people are going to do the right thing. Turn on the news, and these people, these are good people who are going to say, you can trust them. You can't. These are morally bankrupt people, and anybody with morals is not going to. They're going to remove them out of those positions.
Yeah.
Because if you have morals, you're a problem to them.
Yeah, for sure they're using all these people, man. I keep thinking too, man, that I think I brought it up on the show before, man. I wish Trump would make like a little press conference where he directly talks to the LGBTQ community and just tells them straight out, like, you guys are all being used. You think they really care about you? They don't. You guys are just pawns in their game. I don't have anything against you people. You know what I mean? All we want is for everybody to live their life and be left alone, and for one person's, belief system not be shoved down the throats of other people. We want everybody to be free, and I promise to be that for you guys. Just you'll have your way of life as long as it doesn't disrupt other people, just like you want. Something along those lines. Just kind of like a chess move. At least talk to them. Just say something, even if even if the movement is weak and it's just used kind of as a pawn, like I said, like just at least call it out. You know what I mean? Just call that whole movement out and just try to bring them towards his side in some sort of way. And even for the immigrants, if you would say something like, I was thinking, like, kind of tell him, I guess he made a threat where he's saying that if when he becomes president, if he finds out any of these immigrants voted illegally, that they're going to be the first ones out of the country. If he would do something else, like maybe different version of that, where he would say, "Don't vote, and if we find out you didn't, we'll maybe create some sort of temporary visas or something like that, some sort of compensation for at least not having voted. At least say it, even if they do vote, whatever. But at least throw that out there and try to entice people to at least do the right thing and not try to not vote or some shit like that. Some shit, I don't know, some sort of strategy just to call out the groups that the Democrats are using to, in their favor. Just try to address something towards them.
So I'll use like the LGBTQ example for what this. So this is how this works. This is what they're doing, and they do it with everything. But this would just be one example. So right now, I believe it's 25% of people under the age of 18 identify as other than heterosexual. So LGBTQ, whatever. Before this whole propaganda and this stuff started, it was 7%. So it's quadrupled, right? Almost quadrupled. So this is an environmental cause without a doubt to make this number go this high. And the environmental cause is they have it pushed all over social media. They have it pushed into your schools. They have it pushed into your workplace. They are pushing this on the news. They're pushing this everywhere. And the reason they're doing that isn't because they care about people who aren't heterosexual. The reason they're doing it is to create more people who are even more outlandish than just homosexual. Now they're men who are women who can get pregnant, transsexual, and I can give birth, and just these outrageous sorts of scenarios that would cause a culture clash.
Yeah.
And that's what they want. They want these culture clashes. That's why you drop Haitians into Springfield, Ohio, for a culture clash, because they want people fighting with each other so that they can control the country unfettered. That's the whole point. They're using these things and creating these things in order to control and maintain power. It has nothing to do with caring about someone, how they identify, or their ethnicity, or their refugee status. None of that is important to them at all.
Yeah.
But they want these shocking events to come into communities in the United States that will shock the people in these communities and around the country in order to create division. And then they capitalize on the division and conquer. And that's the game plan.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if that's their strategy is to use these people, Trump should just address them and try to say something to just, if we're talking about impressions, to give the impression maybe they would go to his side here. You know what I mean? Like, so
just say what I just said.
Just counter all that.
Tell them what I just said. I mean,
yeah.
Because that's exactly what they're doing. That's not the only thing they're doing, but that's a big part of what they're doing. It's a divide and conquer, but it's a divide and conquer on steroids, where we're literally creating people from very young age in grade schools to identify as something that will shock Americans. And then once they're shocked, they're like, what the hell's going on? I'm going to go to this school and see what's going on. And then the FBI comes in and says, well, we're going to arrest you for questioning our shock tactics. But they release all this onto the American public, and the American public's shocked. And now you have a culture clash. Then you bring in people from South America and around the world across the southern border, and you have all kinds of culture shock. You drop people from Africa into Ohio, culture shock, on and on and on. They do this with every issue, and it keeps people divided. It keeps people fighting with each other, and they're too busy trying to figure out what's going on and save their communities to even pay attention to what the government's doing.
Yeah.
And the ones who do figure this out and go out and actually protest it, we throw you in prison. right?
No.
Because how dare you? You're racist, you're bigoted, you're election denier, right? So the people, I mean, they're actually racist and bigoted. They're using people as like animals because of their ethnicity and because they um, psychologically manipulated them into thinking that they're transsexual when they're not. Because
Yeah.
how could you have 25% of people now saying they're transsexual or other than heterosexual when it used to be only 7%? How'd that happen? That's not, you're not born that way because you guys didn't have all these babies because you're not even making babies because you're not having heterosexual sex. So
Yeah.
it can be genetic. So it has to be environmental. And what's the environment? The environment is propaganda in your schools, churches, work, everywhere. And even churches, a lot of churches have eaten this up, and they have homosexual churches and LGBTQ friendly churches, and the Bible is 100% doesn't go for that. So that's what they're doing. It's a divide and conquer, but it's a divide and conquer not just based on what you are. We'll create you into what we want you to be, and that will be even more shocking and easier to divide.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for sure. I mean, just as far as I mean, I just trying to make the whole thing just in regards to
Well,
when the kids try to come out, that they're trying to take parents' rights away, where they don't even, where the schools don't even have to report it to the parents, like they could deal with it and protect the kid. And actually, I think they're saying right here in California, they could actually take away your kid if you try to deny them
right.
any sort of
The, go- the
sexual.
the government is psychologically manipulating children into identifying as some form of other than heterosexual. And then if you step in and say, hey, I don't want this happening to my kid, then they go, well, you're a bad bigoted person, and as a matter of fact, you might be breaking the law. So this in the schools, you got these teachers and stuff like that. They're all government employees too, who are being used through the unions and things like that to do these things, right? They're being manipulated too, and a lot of them don't realize it. Some do, but
Yeah.
this is what's happening. But at the end of the day, really, again, this is where it all leads to, is what you have is a blatant spiritual war taking place in the flesh. Evil, good and evil, God and Satan are orchestrating all of this, and it's playing out through the flesh. And like the Bible says, towards the end of days, the birthing pains will get worse and faster and more intense. And we're seeing that play out right in front of our face. We're seeing exactly what the Bible says playing out in front of our face. So it's easy to recognize that this is spiritual warfare being played out through humans. So
Yeah.
we're basically being manipulated by evil forces of Satan. A lot of people are. And then the people who have morals, and when the morals come from God, because there's no other place you could have them from, those people aren't buying it because they got that on their side where they can see clearly, because they're not morally bankrupt. And the morally bankrupt are open to this sort of spiritual, negative, evil spirit, Satan,
Yeah.
whatever, or however you want to term that.
No.
So that's really what's going on. This is ultimately that's what it is. And so it looks to me like we're getting close to the end, but no one knows for sure. But it really looks that way because the Bible pretty much details this out. It says you won't know for sure, but these are the signs to look for. Right will be wrong. Men will be full of lust and pride and ego in themselves. You'll have rumors of wars and wars. Um, Earthquakes will become more common, and we're starting to get more of those. It seems like things like that you're going to have happening, and they're happening. And the push for a one world government. A one world government will happen, and that's exactly the whole thing we're talking about. Is these billionaire oligarchy trying to create a one world government, and they'll probably do it economically first, and then they'll do it government wise after that. So you can see all these things playing out, and it's already been written thousands of years ago that this is exactly how it would play out.
Yeah. Well.
Which to me gives me comfort because for a Christian, if you're you believe in Jesus as your Savior, then you're saved. And this is actually good news to a Christian. It sounds weird, but it's actually good news because it means that more than likely Jesus is coming back relatively soon. Now, we don't know for sure, but it's what it looks like. But how whenever he comes back, at the end of the day, there's going to be a one world government, and when that happens, the Christians are taken out. Jesus comes and takes all the Christians out, all the believers, and everybody else is left. And now they go through 7 years of tribulation. First 3.5 years are pretty good, and then the last 3.5 years are hell on earth. And you don't want to be there. You can still get saved, but it's going to be stupid hard. But that's ultimately my analysis is what's happening. If you want to break it down to the very core, very origins of what's happening, it's people being manipulated by evil to do all these terrible things, while the people who believe in God can see it, and they know that they're going to be fine. So it's not nearly as stressful for them because they know how it plays out, and they know where they're going to be when this all really comes to a head.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's coming to a head pretty soon.
Yeah,
we can agree on that, right?
Something's definitely building up. I was about to read right now a quick report, or just in regards to what you're saying, man. I guess the only thing I could hope for, man, is that I don't know how it's gonna be, during the tribulation and Armageddon and the end of days. If we're living in those right now, I could only hope that the worst of it is happening behind the scenes. Hopefully the one world government is already in place, and this is the worst it gets. The rumors of wars. Hopefully it's not a full-blown World War III nuclear war, and this, the tension that we feel right now is as bad as it could get.
Does get worse.
I'm hoping that, hopefully it's not. I can only hope.
If the Bible's correct, and I believe the Bible's correct, it does get worse. It gets to the point in tribulation where it says Jesus comes back towards the end of tribulation and says, if he didn't come back, no one would survive.
Oh.
Right?
Well,
so he does come back at the end, and it also every nation will be against Israel, right? And we're seeing that too. This is in the Bible. Israel had to become a nation again, right? This is written thousands of years ago, that Israel will be broken up and spread. The Jews will be spread around the world, and they'll have no nation. Then their nation will be reformed, and then after that happens, then eventually, that begins the countdown essentially for the end of days. And so in 1948, Israel was reformed. No one believed it would ever happen. Even the Jews laugh at people who would say, before 1948 that they would have a nation again, but they do. And then it says at the end of days, the nations will rise up against Israel, all nations. And we're starting to see that, right? Even our own nation. We're playing this game where, we're backing Israel, but we're not, but we are, but we're not. And, but a lot of nations are against Israel right now. And Israel's very survival is hanging on a thread, with what's going on over there. Yeah. But it hasn't gotten to the point yet with Armageddon, but it's getting close. And this is what the Bible says, and this is what we're seeing: a one world government, Israel reformed, Israel being attacked by the world. I mean, you can see all these pieces being put into place.
Yeah.
And that right will be wrong, wrong will be right, right? Evil's running things. People with morals, that follow the law and morals, they're the ones getting arrested. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, you've never seen it in men or women, women or men, and on and on and on. All these things are backwards. And it's exactly what it says, right? So
I guess I just say
there's no way the Bible would have known that Israel would be broken up, the Jews would be spread around the world, which is exactly what happened, and then it would reform. It didn't reform for a couple thousand years, but it said that in the Bible, and it did happen.
Oh. I mean, I guess I just say just for the sake of all the innocent lives out there, hopefully it doesn't get as bad as it's been foretold. Well, in regards to how bad it could get, let me lead into something. But real quick, I don't know. Do you trust Rasmussen or do you trust polls at all? I mean, I don't know. Just because of releasing shit like this, and we're
I
talking
mean,
about the impression of Kamala winning.
I think polls are manipulated, and sometimes they'll give you the real one, sometimes they'll give you a fake one, just to keep you confused. That's how I think they do the polls. So, do I trust them? Not really, because I don't know when they're going to be true or false. So,
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
just because they've been having Kamala and Trump neck and neck since she was announced as a new candidate. But like I said, since the debate, I just been seeing a bunch of them. Kind of, they look more realistic, and they have Trump way up. So I guess they just released one. Rasmussen has Trump up like 6 points, and to me, that's just more realistic than people really thinking
Well,
that
and
she
that's
has
fine
that much
because
support.
right, because you're going to have a margin of error on a poll, and it might be that one's probably, if I had to guess, probably like 3%. So that gives him 3 to 9%. But as long as it's close, all they needed was for her to go into that debate and not fall on her face, and the bar was real low, and so that makes the election in the eyes of the her supporters.
Yeah.
That makes it that they believe she could win, right? So now they got what they wanted. Now it's easier to rig because public perception is like, well, you know what? She did pretty good in the debate, so yeah, I guess she could have won the election, right? So now they can rig it. So now you can have polls that you don't have to manipulate completely because people are still, I think that's what they're doing there, but I'm not sure.
Well, that's what I'm saying was interesting about that night right after the debate. I turned into MSNBC just to see how they're going to spin everything. And I was surprised that they're showing polls. They're saying that that basically Kamala didn't really do anything for him, and it was like MSNBC, and they're just saying that who do they put the poll? Who do they trust more? To take over or who would be a change from the way things are right now? And everybody put Trump, and I forgot what the other questions were, but they're all favoring Trump. And so on MSNBC, I would have thought they would have immediately lied and kept trying to push the Kamala hype and put some fake polls up there, but they're putting some what would appear to be honest polls if they're favoring Trump in any sort of way right after this debate, which it turns out I'd be the only one. And it's kept going since then. Every day I just see nothing but polls where Trump's like way ahead by a lot, and she didn't get shit.
Right. And I think the reason they do that stuff is, okay, so we're saying the media is government controlled, right? So the way that they try to push back on that is they do a lot of these propaganda, but they'll throw in some real news here and there to keep you on the edge of like, well, maybe not, right? They want a little bit of that confusion in there, and more than likely they have a plan in the background. They're not worried about the polls at this point because they already have a plan in place to deal with that. And that's basically election rigging. They're like, whatever these polls say, we have more ability to rig past that.
Yeah.
So I don't know for sure about the polls because you have a lot of people doing the polls, and I could say this. In 2016, Hillary Clinton had a 99% poll rating to beat Trump, and he smashed her. So the polls were definitely not accurate. So I don't worry about polls.
Well, I mean, but if you just put it in context,
the problem you have there too is like they're like, well, let's talk to the undecided voters and see if they were moved by this debate.
Yeah.
Really, who's undecided anymore? Think about it. Like, are you going to be undecided? You probably have never had two candidates that are further apart.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially when you're
so
living.
I don't think there's a whole lot of people in this country who are undecided because of the political charged atmosphere by the oligarchy pushing it through the government into the media, and then just the prices of everything under her and under him. Like, I think people I doubt there's very many people who are undecided because how are you undecided in an environment where the prices are so radically different and the politically charged atmosphere is so, it's never been more politically charged than it is now. I think it's hard to be in the middle on that. So I don't think there's a lot of people in the middle.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think everybody's made up their minds for sure. There's just no way, no way for you to have no opinion. You know what I mean? Like, really be either or. Well, okay. Well, this is we're already at 2 hours, bro. I wanted to end it kind of on. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if he's a prime minister or somebody the government of Poland. Did you see that video of that guy?
Of who?
Of he's in the government in Poland. He did like a
Oh
press
yeah, yeah.
conference.
He's lovely. He's awesome.
Okay, I'll play that right now. But here's another report.
Yeah,
So
I've
did
seen.
you see the other video of Putin? What he was saying? That if Ukraine uses long range,
Long-range missiles. It's World War III.
yeah, that basically he's going to go after NATO. That basically NATO's going to be involved, and that's it.
That's World War III.
Yeah, so kind of.
I mean, I'm surprised that already hasn't happened when Ukrainians used drones on Moscow. I thought the probability of Russia retaliating with tactical nukes was higher than not.
Yeah.
So I think we're almost to the point of unavoidable world war.
So there's a report real quick right here. Canada Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, this piece of shit, fully supports Ukraine using long-range weaponry against Russia, a move that Putin said will mean NATO is at war with Russia.
Right.
Fucking stupid, man. So I don't know what the hell Anthony Blinken went to Poland, but let me play this real quick. I thought it was funny too.
Go home. Go home. As soon as go home. Go home. As soon as possible. Get lost. Get lost. We don't want you here. We don't want Polish people paying and dying for your wars. Thank you very much. And go home.
This was a full clip. He says his name right before this. He says, Anthony Blinken, go home. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, yeah. Right. It's funny
So-
too, right? Because over the years, like, how many polls does it take to put in a light bulb? Right? They're supposed to be the stupid people,
Yeah, meanwhile, right here.
and they proved out to be the smartest people.
yeah, no shit.
Right?
So-
They're the only ones. They're like, we ain't bringing fucking Muslims into our country to destroy it. We don't have any terrorist attack, none.
Yeah.
You guys have all kinds of crazy shit going on in your countries. We're not bringing in a corrupt ass politician from America. Get out of here.
I think it was Lara Logan. She reposted this. Let me see if I can find her really quick. She basically says, like, when have you ever seen something like that? You know what I mean? And shit. Let me see if I can find how she.
Well, he knows exactly what's going on, like what we're talking about. Poland sees exactly what we're talking about in this podcast, and they're like, nope, ain't happening here. Get the hell out of here.
Real quick, her tweet. This is absolutely staggering. When have you ever heard anyone anywhere on the planet deliver a public rebuke of this nature to a sitting U.S. Secretary of State? This is a big FU, the deep state. And it is proof that they are losing everywhere. We just don't see it clearly. So, a little hope. I guess she thinks there's a little bit of hope in something like this, that maybe they are failing. I mean, fuck it. If you really think about it, man, everything Trump did, everything that everything Trump represents, and everything he's trying to do, everything that shit that happened with Musk. With the X, the narrative and all that, like, they probably thought they had a clear path. They probably thought Trump wasn't going to run again. Or they probably, even though they were getting scared, they probably thought for sure they were going to kill him. So they probably weren't anticipating him surviving that. But then just losing the narrative with the X also, they thought they were going to just walk right in with their new plan. And now they're having all kinds of trouble. Especially with Trump surviving and just being so close now, that now they're going to have to expose themselves even further.
I mean, for Poland to rebuke the Secretary of State of the United States, like, that is hilarious. I mean, but he knows exactly what's going on, just like everybody else knows what's going on. Even most of the people who are going to vote for Kamala Harris, they know what's going on. I mean, they know it, and they don't care. They're still like, I don't give a shit. They're still going to do it. Like, in all these other countries, they know what's going on too, but they're still doing it because they're getting paid.
Well, what is it, geopolitics? What the hell could Anthony Blinken have told these guys? Could he have gone over there and told them, "Hey, can we use your land to, set up war with Russia?" Like, what the hell could he have said to them to kind of react this way? I wonder. It had to have been something like
Well,
that, no? Like,
no.
can we use your
So Anthony
territory? Can
Blinken,
we build a base or some shit? I don't know what the hell they could have told him.
if I had to speculate, and I don't think it's actually speculation because I've seen a reporter talking to the president of Poland too, and asking him about how many Muslims refugees they've taken in. He said none, and she goes, "Well, don't you
Yeah.
think that's racist?" He's like, "Nope,
Oh yeah, I
I
seen
don't have
that
any
one.
terrorist attack. How you guys doing?" Right? So I think, and so these, okay, so dropping in these refugees, they could be Muslim, Haitian, Mexican, Guatemalan, Chinese, whatever, right? It's just a vastly different culture we want to drop into your country. And they've done this to most of the countries around the world in order to cause shocking culture clash. And
Yeah.
that breaks down your government and we can take control of it. Or it breaks down your society and divides you guys. And now we can come in and take control of it. And they're trying to do that with Poland too. And that's why Blinken's there, I think. I don't think
Yeah.
it's about war with Russia. I think it's about the billionaire oligarchy trying to create the one world government, and Poland's not going for it. And so they're trying to pressure Poland into doing it. I believe Poland pays like $30 or $35 million a day or something like that in sanctions for not taking in refugees by the world, from the world sanctioning them or
What
in some way.
was it? Poland? Was it Poland that did that video? Where they say that? Yeah,
I,
we're not accepting anybody. Like,
yeah,
okay.
right. I think it's $35 million a day, and I don't know how the details of that, how that works, but it's cost them a lot of money to
What do you
not
mean?
do this.
How? They got to
I
pay
don't
the
know.
Are they part of the EU?
I'm not sure how they're doing it because they didn't explain that. But he
Well,
goes, I don't care if it's $350 million a day. We're not doing it.
what do you mean?
We're not going to destroy.
Who do they got to pay that to?
Probably, I don't know if it's so much they're paying it, but it might be more like
It,
trade tariffs
okay,
or
yeah.
sanctions or things like that. It's not like
Yeah.
they have to give out $30 million, $35 million a day. It's more like they're just in like tradeways or sanctions or things like that. That
Yeah.
it's costing them that money that they would be able to gain out of open trade, less tariffs, things like that. Is if I had to assume, but they didn't explain what that
Oh,
is.
okay.
But the point is that they're not going to do it, and so they're trying to put pressure on them financially and politically now. Basically, they want to come in there and destroy your country so that they can take it over because it's part of the world and we're taking over the whole world, don't you know?
Yeah.
Right? So, you're one of the holdouts.
Yeah. Well, I wonder. Where is Poland? Was Poland right? Was Poland right next to Russia?
Yeah. It's on the border of Russia and the border of Germany.
Oh, okay, so they
In
got it.
between.
Let me see. Okay, I'm looking at it right here. Well, it's to the west of Ukraine. So, yeah, I don't know how they would be used.
Oh, is it bordered with Ukraine and not Russia?
Yeah, not Russia. So it's
Okay, so
Germany.
it used to be bordered with Russia when in World War II, Ukraine was Russia. So,
Although they probably split Poland with Belarus.
Belarus.
Belarus, sorry. Yeah.
No, Belarus was part of Russia too. This is
Well,
Soviet Union,
Poland was bigger though, no?
Belarus and Ukraine were part of the Soviet Union.
Here, let me see if I can just pull this up real quick so we could look at it. What the hell we're talking about? Blop. Yeah, well, I mean, so yeah, I don't know how they could use them. I mean, yeah, it might not have been about the war. It might have been, like you said, just about accepting their policies, whatever the hell.
Well, I mean, it could have war implications as well, but it's more. I mean, like I said, it's the pressure's been being put on them about taking Muslim refugees, right? And
Yeah,
and it's not about refugees at all. These people, Blinken in the United States and all these other people, they don't give a shit about refugees. They're not putting people over there to protect them and help them their political status and give them a safe place to go. They're putting them to culture shock a culture that they want to conquer, divide and conquer. And I think that's why he's there. He's been given his marching orders, not by the president of the United States, but by Fink, Soros, and Schwab, and people like that. The World Economic Forum, G7, G20, all these people, these countries and leaders and billionaires, they're trying to break Poland's culture down because Poland's culture is intact, whereas all the other countries, most of the other countries aren't. But Poland is like right on the border of where these wars are going on, so
I guess I'm just
there's
wondering.
implications there as well.
I guess I'm just wondering what the hell Anthony Blinken could have told them. Like, what the hell did he want from them for them to come out this publicly? Like Laura Logan said, like, you've never seen nothing like that.
Yeah, I haven't either.
What the hell scared them so much that they had to just call out Anthony Blinken by name?
Yeah, that's awesome because that guy's a piece of crap.
You know what I mean? Yeah, hell yeah.
Lying piece of crap.
It's called. Well, so far, I guess that's the kind of latest that I've seen. So, as far as topics. So.
Yeah.
So that's my brother.
We'll have some more next week. I wanted to bring in that Whitney Webb. I need to get cut some clips of her because she breaks down this one world government and stuff like that really well. She's been doing this stuff a long time. She's super smart.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully I can get an opportunity to do that next week.
Okay. She has a podcast, Whitney Webb.
I don't know that she has a podcast, but she's a guest on a lot of podcasts because of all the research she's done and she's very, very good and smart at it. So I'm not sure that she has her own podcast, but I think she's invited on a lot of other podcasts. You can look her up. Her name's Whitney Webb.
Oh, okay.
And she goes on and on about BlackRock and Fink and really what the plan is. The social credit system. She's taught everything we're talking about. Some of the information I got from her. She's done way more research on this than probably anybody or most people. So she's very informed.
Yeah. I forgot there is one more topic that we could bring up real quick in regards to ABC and the debate. You heard that there might be a whistleblower?
Oh, was there?
Yeah,
I heard something, but I didn't see what they said.
Well, I started following the person that's claiming he's gonna be releasing it. He's not the whistleblower, but he's mediating the release of it. That he's talking to the lawyer and the whistleblower, and they can release it through this guy. So basically, they're claiming that Kamala, and it makes sense if you really look at it, just her confidence level and the way it's one thing to memorize a question, but she looked like she was just expecting every one of the questions, and she just said every answer so confidently to the point where she could have that smug look that she had.
Yeah, smug is exactly the word I was thinking too.
Yeah, man. So they're claiming.
I think that smug look is a turnoff to the viewer.
Oh, that's what I'm telling you. Like they felt like she looked like a bitch. Like every time she was triggering Trump, and Trump was taking the bait, but she would say something, and as soon as Trump started ranting, she'd do the whole. And they ever brought it up that she would do the thing where she put her arm up and kind of put her knuckles to her chin, like she's just watching him with a stupid grin. Like she just thought it was like amusing, you know what I mean? Like she's just triggering him and had that stupid look on her face. But so according to these people, they're saying the whistleblower claims that they gave Kamala's team a sample of what the questions could be, as well as a reassurance that they were going to fact check Trump during the debate. So this guy supposedly has proof of that, and they've been talking about it for a couple of days. But this he says, on his last tweet right here, he's saying, has ABC denied anything about my tweet yesterday? I've not seen them deny anything yet. I'm getting multiple death threats, and I've had 2 leftist attorneys send me DMs about bringing me to court if I release the whistleblower affidavit. Under these circumstances, I must now be forced to make a difficult decision. Y'all can pound sand. I'm releasing it. I will do as I said. You can bring me to court. You can threaten my life. You can dox me again. I've been doxed multiple times already. Fascists will never scare me. What are the Dems going to do? get the clan back together. So I don't know. Well, I guess he might release it soon. So we'll see if it goes anywhere.
Well, and you know that's true just based on the way she came out. She like right away. She's like, "And this man's gonna lie tonight," right? In other words, I know that they're gonna fact check him and not me.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna lie about the fact checking. Oh, there's no evidence of eating ducks in the park. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is, and you know there is.
Yeah. Yeah, they were ready for everything. They
Right.
had like
They're
a quick
ready to fact check his lies by lying about the facts he said.
Yeah.
I mean, he's actually stating facts. They're calling it lies, and they're actually lying.
Yeah, but I mean,
and that duck thing, that one was beautiful because they went over the top with all the news stories on really hard on. There's no evidence of it, like international news corporations, the presidential debate, and they all know that they are lying, and there's proof. You have the citizens themselves at a public meeting talking about these things almost a month prior to the debate. So without a doubt, they knew about it.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Like I said, man, it's just that they're exposing how scared of they are of that whole thing because they know it'll be effective. Because the other thing that kind of took off that I forgot to mention was, I guess, on TikTok, somebody took Trump's when he brings up the ducks and the kittens, whatever the hell it is, during the debate. They took those lines and they made a little beat out of it, like a little song out of it. And I guess on TikTok it's like a trend right now. People are dancing to it, to Trump saying those two lines. I should have put them up because I thought it was funny. And I guess it's like it's going viral on TikTok right now that people are just thinking it's funny that Trump, you know what I mean, that those lines that Trump said. But that's obviously going to be something that goes against Kamala and her team, you know, like it makes them look bad, like it might be true. So they'll just believe it. And that's why they're freaking out about it, because it's so simple, so silly, but it'll be effective because people will just believe it. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to believe, and then then to be backed up with the actual thing. If they just do any little research, they're gonna see the reports like, yeah, it is true. Like fuck, it is happening.
Like that black guy in the video, he just seems like a regular guy. He's like, "What's going on, bro? What are you doing? You know they're in our park cutting off the heads of ducks and walking away and eating them.
Yeah,
that ain't cool, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't get more genuine than that. So they're caught, and they're all caught because they did it in a presidential debate on ABC. Caught.
Yeah.
Every news story out there on the internet all says the same thing. They're all in lockstep with what they're told to say, not what they actually investigated. They investigated it, they found the truth, and then they all lied.
Yeah.
And news organizations don't, if you're a news organization, right, a newspaper or news organization on TV or whatever, internet, the fact that you get a story wrong while the other one gets it right cost you money. People are being like, "Oh, you guys are shitty at your job. These guys are good. I trust them. I'm going to go to them because I'm going to get the news story that's accurate." They do their homework. They do their investigation. But for them all to agree to write a false story is it's blanket proof of the dictatorship that we live in.
Yeah, no shit.
It's not just here, it's around the world. Like I said, it's international news. So this is a dictatorship attempt on the world. And they're doing it.
Yep. The other good line that Trump said that day, that was at the end, that they were saying in the polling that it stood out, along with the cats and dogs line, was just him calling her out on all these plans that she claims that she has, that she's gonna do on day one. Like, well, how come she hasn't done them already? She's in the office now. Like, why hasn't she done these?
Right.
Implemented all these plans. So they said that stood out a lot too. So.
Oh yeah, he leveled her on the closing statement. He was hammering her. But the thing I thought was kind of funny was like, and you question whether she's a black woman. He goes, "Look, I don't care."
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Black, Asian, who cares? We got problems, man. Our country's falling apart. She wants to identify as Asian before and black now, whatever. Yeah. I don't care. That doesn't even matter. The country is fucking falling apart. We're a third world country, and this is what you want to talk about. He's like,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
yeah,
that's exactly.
he probably closed the whole topic already with that. So that's good. And then it turns out, you still listen to Candace Owens? You don't listen to her show?
I mean, I see her sometimes. I don't. Yeah, listen
Yeah, you
to.
should
I don't
listen to her
really
show.
watch
I
her play.
listen. Yeah, just a few people. I listen to Benny Johnson, Candace Owens, Larry Kudlow, and now this chick Mel K. Like every day, I listen to all their shit. But Candace Owens, she's good, bro. I still remember when you brought her up,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, I remember you talking about her way back when wasn't a Trump supporter, and I used to think, like, oh, she's just like an Uncle Tom. Like, how could she be a sellout? And,
Uh,
yeah, I remember telling you stuff like that. Like, yeah, she's just a
yeah, I've
sellout,
heard.
man. But nah,
Yeah.
she's really smart, man. People have said it, man. I could see her like going into politics and being pretty effective in that. But anyway, she had brought up Kamala's dad, I guess. People have said, well, he's Jamaican, I guess. He's from Jamaica, and that's why she kind of gets her black side of her. But she's
Right.
Candace is saying that he's not. That he's actually Indian, and he just lived in Jamaica. That was it.
Right.
But so she's literally not black, like in any way. Like she's just Indian. But she's just trying to
Right.
she's trying to just claim that she's black now and or act all black, and
Well, the whole
so
point of though, like a presidential debate, you're gonna spend time on a question like that is like
yeah,
stupid. Like it
yeah,
tells you that the whole point of the question was for ABC to try to paint Trump as a racist once again.
yeah,
There's no actual point to that question other than to try to do that, and it's stupid because she herself identified as Asian or Indian before,
yeah,
and now she's identifying as black. So he's like, I don't know.
yeah.
Whatever she says, I don't care. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Why are we talking about this?
Uh,
She's the one that says she's different things. Why aren't you asking her why she identified differently?
yeah, shit.
Right?
That's what I hope. That's not what.
Which makes her a fucking racist.
Yeah, that's
Right?
what I kind of hope that
If I
Trump would
started
do.
telling you that I'm fucking Chinese, right? You would say, well, that's some racist shit,
Yeah,
right? I mean, I can't just do that. People aren't going to be cool with that, but she does it, and they're like, anybody who questions it must be the racist. No, it's the person who says they can change their race that's using racism.
yeah, no shit.
Fucking
Exactly.
obvious.
Yeah, I'd kind of hope that Trump would ask direct questions like a lot more during the debate, like just like literally like use his time to ask her a question to, for whatever the hell it is, so she kind of expose herself. I think Megyn Kelly, I think somebody else kind of they phrased it kind of the whole debate kind of what the way it was they would ask question basically Trump a question like Trump, so why are you a piece of crap?
Yeah.
And then they'd they'd then turn to Kamala to say, "So, do you agree that Trump is a piece of crap?" And that was
Right.
basically the whole debate. They would just
Right. Right.
so.
And it's
Yeah,
funny because after the debate, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was, he likes Trump, and I was like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. It's about to be expected. He goes, what are you talking about? They were biased against Trump. It was terrible. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, as far as their bias goes, that was about par. It was okay, It's what I expected.
yeah,
I mean, it could have been a shit ton worse, yeah, but I mean, and it is terrible, but not for a media that is government controlled propaganda. It wasn't crazy, but it was obviously media controlled propaganda. But I mean, it's what I expected. I mean,
yeah.
what do you expect when fucking Hitler's in charge and he's running the TV? What do you think you're gonna get? Jews are bad, Aryans are good, right?
Yeah,
Fucking same thing here.
yeah,
Pro government force is good. Anybody who questions government bad. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just that it's a little different, but it's essentially the same thing. It's dictatorship on TV.
yeah. Well, now I guess that night like, they were all calling for Kamala's team was calling for a second, like another debate right away, And then Trump, I guess, was open to it, and they asked him straight out, like, would you do it? And I think they said, would you do it on Fox at least? And then they mentioned, what would you do on Fox with Bear and Martha McCallum? And he shut that down. He's like, I would do it on Fox, but not with Brett Baer and Martha McCallum. I would want somebody else, like Jesse Waters or Laura Ingraham. So he was open to it that night, but I guess now they're saying that Trump doesn't want to do a second debate. I guess he just says, screw it, unless he's trying to hold out for for them to beg for it and do it under his term finally.
Yeah, I don't know, but Fox News is dicey too. Like, remember when he was on Fox News and Megyn Kelly went after him? But you're anti-women, like,
Yeah.
and now she's all pro-Trump. Make up my mind, Megan. Right?
Now she's coming out she's pretty good in defense. I listen to her too. Sometimes she's defending them pretty good. She's calling it like it is
I
too.
know. But my point is that at that time when he was on the debate and she was one of the moderators, she would have been one of the people that you would have expected to be objective, and she wasn't. She was literally going after him, and she got paid to do it, or she was brainwashing into doing it. So my point is like, when she did that, she has to at least come clean on that and say, you know what, I fucked up there. I don't know if she has, but when I see her now, it's what I remember. Is her nastiness.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't that the whole when he interviewed him about it, he was like, yeah, she had blood coming out of her eyes, out of her whatever. And they try to make a big deal about that, like that he was talking about her being on her period, and they try to just everything he says, they try to make it like an outrageous thing, like a big old controversy every single time. Back then, I didn't like him, so I was just sort of like, this guy's an asshole, no matter what he says. But
right.
But shit, that was just different times, man. They just basically that was the first question they asked them in the whole debates. I'm not sure if that was the first debate or the second debate. But they
I don't remember.
Yeah, they weren't asking.
I don't remember the debate except her.
Yeah,
how nasty she got.
What I'd seen is that was the very first question they asked him, and that was his response. Like, knocked it out of the park, like right away.
Yeah,
and
only
everybody was only Rosie O'Donnell. Everybody cheered, and Megyn Kelly tried to take back control. No, not just her. she's trying to like bring it back in, and then from there, Trump just took over, man. Holy shit, man. I forgot what the name of the documentary was, where they show like basically his rise in 2016. It's good, man. To this day, man, I still can't believe he's alive for how he treated Jeb Bush, man. That has to be one of the most humiliating, just exits of politics for anybody. The way he treated Jeb Bush. He humiliated that guy like really bad.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that sort of stuff, but at the same time, Jeb Bush, like, who are you? So you guys want to have a royal family?
Yeah.
Bush the father, Bush the son, Bush the other son. It's like, we're not about royalty, man. It's not about your family bloodline, like we're in a monarchy. Get the hell off the stage. What are you even doing up there? You guys shouldn't be doing that just because you should respect the republic more than try to have a family dynasty. I don't like that. I don't think you should have family dynasties. Kennedy's the same thing. Like, you shouldn't have family dynasties, even though I have way more respect for the Kennedys than I do the Bushes, which I thought I would never say. But here I am. But yeah, Jeb Bush was like, it was just his name. That was it. And it was supposed
to be Bush or Hillary for sure. I already leading up to that.
Which is both deep state oligarchy controlled candidates.
Yeah. So it would have been the same typical presidential run that we've always we're all used to. And so I think Megyn Kelly with that question just wanted to take Trump out quick right away from the beginning with the question, and thought it was going to work, and well, the rest is history.
Jenna Bush, Bush's daughter, she's like on some talk show now. Like, she's a co-host on Jenna and Hoda or something. I see it all the time when I'm at the gym. And like, she didn't get that position because she's an actress or she's in the entertainment. She got that position because she's part of American royal family, which shouldn't exist. Yeah. It's all connections. So you can see how corrupt our system is. She got that job because she's rich and connected politically. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's Yeah, and it shows you how corrupt the Bushes are.
Hey, real quick, there's something I wanted to ask you during the show. I keep forgetting. What do you know about Rhodes Scholars?
Rhodes Scholars?
Yeah. You know anything about that?
I mean, I've heard the name, and
Yeah, I've always heard that
that's
name too. But yeah, I guess it's
why.
just. Well, again, I'm bringing up Malkay, but they're talking about Rhodes Scholars on that show. That Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. That almost every major like policy maker has been a Rhodes Scholar. I just never knew much about them.
I mean, okay, so I looked it up real quick. It's
I think they said that Henry Kissinger was a Rhodes Scholar.
is it Road like ROAD or
It
Road
might
like
be
as
like
in road?
RHODE.
Yeah, okay. So it's an international postgraduate award for students to study at the University of Oxford in Oxford, United Kingdom. So that's a Rhodes Scholarship.
Okay, well, there's a bunch of American Rhodes Scholars.
Right.
So.
So that means, I guess that means they went into Oxford
Bill Clinton,
postgraduate.
I was kind of surprised if he's supposed to be like smart, like policymaker. I would have thought he was like another puppet.
He was.
But they're saying like even like Chris Christopherson, that musician, the actor musician, that even he was a Rhodes Scholar. So they're saying that some people might have gone through all that but not end up being evil.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I've heard that plenty of time, but
okay. Yeah.
but I've never actually looked at it. I'm looking at it right now.
I've always heard that name, and I just thought, I don't know what the hell that is, but they were bringing it up. They were naming a bunch of them, and I was like, shit, I don't know that was like a thing. You know, I mean, most Rhodes Scholars want to be like major policymakers.
Well, the United States has the most in history that went there. That's 32. Canada and Australia are second.
Oh, really? So there's not even that many?
It says, oh no, that's just for 2022.
That's still per year. That's still like a little bit.
Oh wait, yeah, I don't know. There were exclusions for women. There were exclusions for Black Africans.
Oh shit.
They say that they're colonists, but this is off Wikipedia, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'll look into it.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I don't. Why? What? So what do you? So you're just saying that a lot of politicians were Rhodes Scholars?
Yeah. Well, policymakers. Yeah.
Right.
Almost like.
So it kind of does make sense if you're going to go to England, and England was like the powerhouse of the world for several centuries, right?
Yeah.
And they had colonies all over the dang planet. They still have a lot of control, but so yeah, you get your you do your thing, and then you're going to go into some sort of leadership role. Then you go there and then learn what they know, or they teach you up on how to do it, or I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just.
Yeah, no. Well, I should have wrote down the names, but the names that they were listing that were all Rhodes Scholars, they're all like just people, like prominent people that I recognize. I was like, shit, all these motherfuckers. So I wonder what the hell the big deal is. I just never knew what a Rhodes Scholar really was. But
yeah, I didn't.
Guess we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
So yeah, then, brother, I guess we got all the topics today, bro. So far, I don't know what's next, so we'll see what happens.
Well, some news will happen between here and there for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I mean, because getting close to the election, so stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
The weird thing to me, the odd thing is I expected riots, and they haven't really materialized. You did have the university riots with the Palestinians versus the Jewish people, but that ended. So I was expecting more, and they might have gotten onto that and been like, you know what, we're getting too obvious with these orchestrated government riots in the streets during the elections, happened the last 2 election cycles, and so now we're going to switch it up. So they might be switching up their game plan. And at the end of the day, you got to understand we're dealing with really smart people at the top of this billionaire club that are, they're not stupid. They know how to deceive.
Well, they got think tanks for sure that's running everything.
Right.
What's it called? But in regards to those protests, I was wondering something about that. It's funny how bad those got. They almost got like the George Floyd riots. It was like every day on the news, all the time. Every university in the streets of New York every single day. It was like being shown, and then
Well,
as soon as Biden steps down, they all go away.
I
So
think
I was
I,
wondering if they're using that towards Biden to put
I
pressure
don't
on him.
think so. I think they
No,
actually thought before Biden. I think the reason they shut down is I think those were intended to carry on and be a distraction and divisive, uh, so that they can rig the election. While people are watching those, they're busy, you know, putting in extra ballots or whatnot. But I think what happened there was that it backfired on them in the sense that all the Jewish big money people were pulling their uh, money out of the universities that were doing it. And on top of that, the Jewish vote was starting to move from Democrat to Republican. And I think they were like, shit, this is not working the way we wanted. Some
yeah,
of these universities are, you know what I mean? Politically, this isn't working out well. So I think they pulled the plug on it and told the people they're paying and orchestrating to stand down.
yeah. Well, that's
But then again, it might happen. It might start up again. They might have something coming real quick here, but I thought they would have happened by now. I don't know.
well, that's what I'm saying. And kind of in context with our theory that these all these demonstrations are controlled. Like it kind of makes no sense that they were doing these, and in reality, they weren't ever doing these in front of Trump or any Republicans. They were only doing it at Democratic events and stuff like that. That they're going hard. So what would be the reason? And especially if it backfired the way you're saying, but that all of a sudden the Jewish vote was kind of leaning more towards Trump, so it was backfiring. So they stopped it, I guess. But why even start it if they were mostly attacking the Democrats? I think the last one they even tried was at the Democratic convention, but right after that it sort of all went away. I wonder why. You know what I mean? Like how they used it. If we think that all these demonstrations are controlled, so I started thinking that maybe they were only doing it to try to get Biden to step down, like just show him, like, you know what I mean, like,
I mean,
just try to put
maybe they
pressure
were
on him.
trying to,
Who the hell
maybe they
knows?
were trying to undermine him. I mean, that's why the CNN debate was just not. They didn't do all this. I'm going to fact check one and not the other, and this bias stuff is that was intentional to let Biden fall on his face. They weren't going to help him, and that's why you can see the difference in the ABC one.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it very well could have been to hurt Biden politically, but they had full control over him anyway. But it's easier to do when you have him politically hurt to get him to step down. So that's very possible that was the reason behind that, because it is a little confusing. It could just be that you just have a religious clash, Jews and Muslims going off and spontaneously. But there were paid people there for sure. We know that.
oh yeah,
That's a fact. There were people there that were. So I don't know the
they're
whole
way too
point of it. I
organized
think,
for it to be a natural thing. Yeah,
yeah, and they're trying to do this balance between, you can't be Islamophobic, but we love the Jews too. Well, the Muslims hate the Jews, so they don't want to lose either side, because both those sides generally vote for them. So those two fighting is a weird place for them to be.
yeah,
Um, and it might have just been the money, because I know big donors to these universities that are Jewish were pulling out, and a lot of the students who were pro-Palestinian, who were they're working on their graduate degree and they're looking to go into different business. These businesses were blackballing them that were Jewish owned. They're like, you're not working here. You're out, period. You will never work here.
yeah.
Right. So it kind of backfired on them a little bit. But yeah, that one's a tough one to figure out too. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, why all of a sudden they just stopped. So
I mean, I think, like I said, the money and the blackballing of the students in a lot of companies, because a lot of companies, are run by Jewish CEOs or owners, and they're like, well, if you're at Columbia, and you're protesting Israel, I'm not hiring you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put you on a list that says never hire her.
well,
And then they're also, oh, and by the way, I'm going to take out the money I've been giving the university. We're not giving you that either. So, that probably was enough.
yeah, no shit. Yeah, I thought it was curious. But all right, my brother. Yeah, this is our longest show ever right now. two
Is it
hours
really?
and 40 minutes, bro. But
All
good
right.
shit, bro. I think we talked about pretty much everything that's going on right now. So another
Yeah,
good
the
one.
biggest thing is the election and the obvious with the ducks in the park thing. It's a stupid little story,
Yeah,
but it has massive implications, and people should look at that because,
yeah.
I mean, it shows how corrupt the government and the news media are. No one's probably going to ever hear this part of it anyway, so I don't know why I'm talking about it again. 2 hours and 40 minutes. If you are listening to this, anybody, thumbs up to you. You're committed.
Hey, we talked about everything though. So we
Uh,
got everybody update, I think.
all right.
So we got that at least. But all right, my brother. It's a good show.
All right, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, for sure.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye.